All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Pawn Shop of Life. Today, we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite topic going on in the world right now, politics. I am your host, Brad BCG, as always. I now only have one co-host, and she just had to take the puppies out to go potty. But Tammy B48 is here, and my newly renamed co-host, Baby Kangaroo, is my producer. I also have a couple of co-hosts today. I have a friend of mine, Chancie, and his new wife, Margo. Is that right? All right, got it right. Didn't screw that up. Before we get started, here's going to be my disclaimer. So what we're going to be, like I said, this is a very touchy subject on today's world. So what we're going to do is we're going to have peaceful conversations. What we're going to do is we're going to stay away from trying to convince each other about our beliefs and our reasons for the way we feel that way, and just try to understand each other's perspectives. Most of the time, the problem that we have, and we're going to talk about them today too, is Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro, is they're always talking at each other. If you're always trying to see the other person as they need to be convinced or believe the way you believe, we're never going to come to an understanding and be able to work things out amongst each other. I think that's a lot of problems that the Republican and the Democrats have, is because you have to see it my way. What's your problem? This don't fucking work. That's not how that works. Chancie and I have had multiple conversations before. While we don't always see eye to eye on it, we at least understand each other and why we did it. Things are different. Things are always they're all different ways. We always think different ways. We're different backgrounds, different cultures, different beliefs, and that's fine. The problem is if you can't sort of meet in the middle, that's where the issue lies, because we can't meet in the middle. It has to be one or the other. It's not that easy, especially in politics. There's a lot of gray. It's not all black and white. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick this off. And again, just y'all take this with a grain of salt. It's about politics. Don't get your panties in a bunch. Go with the flow and see if you can learn something. And we're going to try to keep it civil. This is not a talk over each other. We all know how things go. That's perfectly okay. We're not going to, like I said, not a Charlie Kirk. We're going to cut each other off. We're just going to talk about it. Here's why I feel that way, because these were my experiences in life. And that's what we're going to do going forward. So we're going to start, babe. You were introduced, but you were taking the pups out. So
thank you.
You think you're going to have a lot of insight and opinions on the politics, since you're not
maybe.
you're political somewhat, but you're not that.
Yeah, I'm not that
enveloped in it.
heated. I'm not that heated about it. I like to hear everybody else's opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's good to talk about it, and as long as you're respectful about it and you're not trying to sway people's opinions per se, but just, hey, let's have a conversation about this and see why you think the way you do is always enlightening.
Yeah. Chancie, what you got?
Well, thank you for having me. It's good to be here with you all. And yeah, I totally agree with Tammy. I think when politics becomes like your whole life, I think you've entered into a little bit of a problem there, where things that are happening, just like I said, politics happening out in like everyday life, that becomes your whole identity. I think that's where you've entered into a sort of territory where it's mostly about your ideology versus like just talking about how you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, baby Kangaroo.
Okay. Y'all are going to have to forgive me. I got this new gadget. It's a push-to-talk button. So if there's silence for a minute, it's because I'm an idiot and I didn't push the button.
Sorry, I can't find my mute button.
There you go. So I think the country is at a crossroads. And if we don't find a way to get along with people that we don't necessarily agree with, things are only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. So, that being said, Chancie, you remember Ann. Hello,
Yeah.
doggies.
Oh, yeah. From work. Yeah.
Yeah. Ann and I used to have great conversations, and we're on opposite sides of the political spectrum. The interesting thing that I found out after talking to Ann was that she's not nearly as far left as I thought she was, and I'm not nearly as far right as she thought I was.
Yeah.
So without having a conversation with somebody about it, you'll never discover those things.
Yeah.
So if people would stop getting all butthurt about not always getting what they want and have a conversation with someone, I think things could get better.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the problem with our society, specifically here in America, where we've always, to make things quote unquote easier, or you can choose however, we like to put labels on things because it is convenient. Like, oh, if you look at something like, oh, they must be this because they believe that, or they are this, so they must believe X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Versus like, oh, let's actually talk with somebody and like, oh yeah, it's a little nuanced. Like I can talk about myself personally. Like, oh yeah, I would be categorized broadly, like left leaning to center on things, but you go into specific topics, you're like, oh, that's a quote unquote right wing idea versus like, oh, this is a quote unquote left leaning idea. Humans are nuanced naturally, so just to broadly categorize them, put them in this box, you're not giving anybody grace by just slapping a label on it and it's like, oh yeah, you must be this because you believe this.
Well, I mean, it's like me. I can't actually be considered like right now, like a true Republican.
Yeah.
Because I believe in abortion.
Yeah.
It's a woman's body.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the right side's argument.
Dude, that's
for
a huge can of worms. You sure you want to open that one on this?
I'm not really. I'm not.
I mean, it's a monstrous.
It
can
is,
of
but I'm not
worms.
going to open the can of worms. I'm just going to put the can opener on it and twist it once.
Okay.
Because that's where that's what I'm talking about. Like he's already just ain't even went nowhere, and it gets the comments. That's why it's like because it's a woman's body. I understand both sides of the argument and everything. I've watched a lot of those videos here lately, and like I get it, man. You know, I'm not going to vote for something to tell a woman what to do with her body.
Yeah.
I mean, now don't get me wrong. I think I don't know why they did something, but they should have left Roe v. Wade alone.
Yeah.
I really think they should have. They should have just left it alone because, like, if it's a woman's body and they make that argument, let's see, what did
Okay, wait a minute. Since you opened it, I'm going to go there.
Well, he didn't really open it. He just
did
sort
open
of
it.
put the.
Well,
Here's the
here
thing.
again.
Pop the
Okay,
lid.
hang on a second. Here's what we talked about at the beginning. Now we said we're going to hear the opinions and not start cutting each other off. So let's not go down that road. Let me finish.
Oh, I'll cut you off.
Well, you're going to get your right, producer. Let's see. What was that again?
But
Sorry, I got
what
the
I was
control
going to
box.
say is that, and this is something that I feel like both of the parties been hijacked by the extremist.
Yes, I agree with that.
And that's one of the things that I think is about why the change came with Roe v. Wade, because there were portions of the left that said an abortion is legal up until the time the child actually takes its first breath, which I consider to be abhorrent. I'm not a fan of abortion. I think people use it way too often for birth control. That being said, I'm of the opinion, being a libertarian, that the federal government shouldn't be able to tell a person what they can or cannot do with their own body. I struggle with this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, I think late-term abortions are fucking terrible. But that's what I said. I just think they should have just left Roe v. Wade alone.
And I think that if the extreme left had not been trying to force late-term abortions onto the society, they would have left it alone.
Yeah, and to your point with the federal government not having a voice in what a woman does with her body, I agree with that. But I also don't like the fact that now what it's caused is now it is in the state's hands, and you've got states that are very one side or the other, like you said, very extremist, and now it's almost nearly impossible for women to have a say. And again, why did this become such a huge platform for politics to begin with?
Yeah. And I agree with many points said by everybody. The extremes of whatever side that you subscribe to have caused this to bubble up to what it is right now, where it is left up to the states.
I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, though.
I do, to a point, because you've got the extremists in the states that now are saying you can't and it's illegal. And now people are not only for women, but for doctors who perform the service. They're not even allowed to practice. And, so it's caused a ripple effect where if they would have just left Roe v. Wade as it was, and to Baby Kangaroo's point about late-term pregnancy termination, if they would have just left it all alone, I don't think this would have become a platform for this year's political campaign.
Well, maybe not. Okay.
So, if I can jump.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I would just like prefacing prohibitions on anything, like just broad prohibitions on anything, are always going to bring up like big problems.
Yeah.
I'll say like the prohibition.
Really,
for a
really
big
good.
example.
Really good point.
Yeah.
How about
people are
going
to still do it, and it's going to, at that point, because it's a prohibition, it's illegal. People are still going to do what they're going to do anyway, and
it's not going to be done in a healthy.
Yeah, and since this is healthcare that we're talking about, like people are going to, it's going to be how it was prior Roe v. Wade. Prior Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
It's going to be how it was. Like people who have means.
Yeah.
Okay, they're going to find a way, whether that means that they're going to be traveling out of the country or
finding that one corrupt doctor to come over to the house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for the vast majority who are getting abortions on the lower income spectrum, they're going to be doing it in an unsafe manner, and that's just going to lead to
more problems.
more problems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first job as a producer, I looked something up. Would it surprise you to find out that Roe v. Wade did specify a time frame?
Yeah,
I
it's
knew
like
that.
16 weeks.
It was first trimester.
Yeah.
After the first trimester, it was up to the states to regulate
When?
Correct. If they could.
Correct.
Okay. So I think that if that had stayed in effect,
Yeah, that's why I said
nobody would have touched it.
Yeah, that's why I
Agreed.
said I don't understand why they
Yeah.
messed with it in the first place.
Here's
Right.
another
Should've just
interesting
left it alone.
statistic I just found out. 60% of Americans support a woman's right to choose for the first trimester.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
After that, only 20%.
Well, of
choose
course. And I
to
think
support
that was logical. That was, it made sense, and it worked for however many years. I don't know off the top of my head when Roe v. versus Wade got accepted.
1973.
It was 70s.
Okay, so I mean, shit, it's been in place for 50 something years and it's worked. And now all of a sudden we're in this downward spiral and we're back 50 years ago.
Yeah, and that's
not a step forward.
Yeah, and that's my own personal opinions regarding the Supreme Court, where you're leaving like the law up to decisions that are made by a specific court at a specific time versus going through how it was supposed to go through, like through Congress, where, all right, we're codifying this. So, all right, and if we want to revisit this, we're all collectively going to vote on it to overturn it versus like, 1 year you have a decision that, Roe v. Wade is the law of the land versus 50 plus years later, new court is in. They have politicized the court.
Yeah.
So they wait 50 years and then all of a sudden, it's off the table. And now people are trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think that's an oversimplification, though.
It
It's
is
not,
an oversimplification.
It's not off the table.
Yeah.
And if you're a purist in terms of our history in the federal government, the founding fathers always intended for the states to have more control than the federal government did.
Yeah, federal. Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
I'm going to rope this in. Yes, the federal government was supposed to be there between interstate things. That's where there's a lot of things that I think's messed up now should be state only. Okay, that. Two, Roe v. Wade, to me, was a good meet in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me, that's all that it is.
It's sad
the left
that it
said
took
everything. The right said absolutely not.
It's
like,
it's sad that
okay.
it took the federal government to intervene and put in place something that was, quote unquote, I would say, happy medium.
Yeah.
But now that it's no longer on the table, it makes people now like my thought and my body doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I think I don't know. It's just a very touchy subject for a lot of people, and I feel like we have gone literally 50 years.
It is. And I'm going to say this one last thing. We're going to get back on track.
Okay.
All right. So the other thing is I don't like that the Supreme Court did that because now does that not open a can of worms for them just to
For
say
anything else.
for everything to be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go back to this, and we're going to revisit that, and then all of a sudden we're fucked on.
And that's
we
why
go.
I'm saying like it's the role of the Congress to actually codify things into law and not just like, all right, well, the Supreme Court decided that and because we can't agree within our legislative body, we're just going to let that decision stand, and that's the law of the land until 50 plus years later, and it's overturned versus it being codified. And
if Congress would have just said, here's the law.
Yeah. And what you said was like, oh yeah, they're talking about revisiting things. In that decision, they were talking about revisiting the cases that Loving v. Virginia, which is for interracial marriages, and then Ogden, I forget.
They're not really talking about revisiting that,
but they did mention that, and then
that's ridiculous.
Yes, that scared people. So then, like a few weeks later, Congress passed officially for the first time in national law that codified gay marriage and interracial marriage. So that's what I'm talking about. Things should be codified with the Congress.
Yeah.
And then, all right, we address it that way versus like, all right, whatever decision that the Supreme Court decides this year is going to overturn something longstanding law, and thus leads to all this confusion.
I'm of the opinion that gay people should be just as miserable as straight people when they go get a divorce. Let them get married so that they can go through that ugly process that is a divorce. Welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, back on top. We're gonna get back on track. Like I said, we always do this. It's always happening.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
trying.
tangents. I love it.
I'm the dungeon master. I'm trying to get us back on track and stop straying from the wildness. You ever play D&D?
You're definitely not a dungeon master.
Actually, she plays D&D.
You play D&D? Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
so cool.
Margot's not mic'd, but yes, Margo is getting into D&D.
I see.
I love that.
I see a game night coming soon.
I do too. I see a
You
game
didn't press
night.
the button.
I see a game night coming up.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
hell yeah.
he's our DM.
He's yeah.
Oh, okay.
When he play,
I've never played D&D before.
it's okay.
I hadn't either, and I was like, "This is gonna be so dumb. This is such a nerd
yeah.
game." And then we played it, and I was like, "This is so fun."
So I got her a starter set, Dungeons and Dragons thing. It's one quick campaign, and it was off of Stranger Things.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and once he started DMing and we actually started playing, she was like, "This is super dope." It's like, "No, we can't." We like played for like 4 or 5 hours. She's
Yeah.
like, "No, we can't stop. I want to finish the campaign." And I was like,
We had to
"Oh."
finish it. I would not
Son of a bitch.
I would not just stop and be like, "Okay, we'll pick it up on another day." It was like, "No, we have to finish this campaign. I need to know what happens."
Yeah, that
How
was
many
super-
hours did it go on?
It was 4 or 5 hours,
or 5
and
hours.
we didn't finish it till the next time that we played.
Wow.
Okay, all right. Let's see. We're going to go around. My opinion on this is I think with me and Baby Kangaroo, we were always told don't talk about politics and religion. I think that we should talk about politics and religion in a civil manner like we're trying to have here now. Because like I said in the beginning with the disclaimer, you can't talk about it. You're never going to know where the other person's coming from.
Right. And there will always be hatred. There will always be you're wrong, I'm right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was brought up the same way.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you don't talk about with people is religion and politics.
Yeah, because you're crossing into the field of belief, and that
Exactly.
is
Powerful.
yeah, it's powerful in that truth doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And again, with God, how many religions are there in the world? And it's like, oh yeah, my God exists, your God doesn't,
And
or
what did
my
the-
gods.
And what
exist.
did the religions do over since the creation of man? How
Oh,
many
yeah, they-
people have been slaughtered
Right.
over?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you don't see it the way I see?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, God
you're-
has
Me and my
told
pe-
me that
me and my people gonna
you shouldn't
kill you.
exist.
It's like,
Yeah.
what? Man, if I wasn't attacking you and you just came after me, I'm pretty sure ain't no Bible says go start slaughtering people at will. You know, that's a little wrong.
Yeah, and for politics, it should be grounded. It should be grounded in facts. I understand how beliefs then creep into it because it's your life, people's lives, and that's when you talk about values, etc. But I do agree that we should, in a perfect society, we should be able to talk about our beliefs, whether that be for religion or politics or for whatever, and you shouldn't walk away hating the person or wanting to kill
Right.
the person.
Yeah.
Right. It should be a respectful thing. Like, I mean, I may not agree with it, but that doesn't mean that you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I would prefer to make my own opinion about things, but my own opinion comes from the facts of the other side. And how am I ever going to know that if I don't talk to somebody who has a differing opinion of myself?
I don't think you and I have ever talked about religion. What's your religious background?
I'm a Satanist. No.
Satanist.
No. I was raised AME. So that's African Methodist Episcopal. I am really personally, I would say now I'm more non-denominational. I believe in God. I believe.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but it's I think religion, it's spiritualism versus religion
Are very different.
are very different. Because religion has the influence of people.
Yeah.
And
we've
and
talked
dogma.
Mhm.
Yeah, didn't we talk about that before?
Yeah.
I think we
so.
talked about it maybe on one of the podcasts because it was no, I talked about it with my kid because he was talking about religion, Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started talking to him about like all these different denominations, and that's where like because I was like, okay, and I forget which one it is. I told my son, I was like, okay, all these different denominations. There's one of them that says you can't play anything other than wood instruments in the church, and I was like, do you really think when you go to the pearly gates to get judged, God's going to be like, no, son, you played a saxophone in church, go burn in hell? Like, come on, man. Like, that's just fucking, God does not, he's not going to care you did that. But like you said, man got involved. Yeah. And now they're putting a little twist on it. And here we
It's very institutionalized.
Yeah. So I agree with you. It's spiritual versus, it's
because, and then here we're going to inject logic into religion. So
there we go.
So if it's like, all right, if you're talking to, as a Christian, if you're talking to someone who is of the Jewish faith versus someone who's of the Muslim faith, if you read the text, are all of your gods are the God of Abraham.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're all worshiping the same person. Or
it just may be called
being.
something different.
Yeah, it's called Yahweh. It's called whatever. It's just
I think when we come down to it, because Old Testament, whenever God said, all right, we finna bust this shit up, y'all over there, and you all speak different language, and y'all look at each other, go, what the fuck are you saying? At the same time, I think, like you said, man got involved. I think we're worshiping the same God. It just man got involved and did their little twist on it.
Got messy.
And it's the same cat. It's the same God all here, like everybody. And they just like, since they spoke different religions, and blah, 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 blah. What the fuck did you say? All right, let's go. Oh, you speak my language. All right, cool. I'm gonna go over there and talk to him. What do you think?
Yeah.
They just got their own twist.
It's
the same God, man. Like, you're all going to get judged. Yeah, you're going to get judged. It don't matter. Just like, interpretations. That's what because like when they write laws, all these courts interpret it because just like at work, I might interpret it one way, you might interpret it another way, even though it's written out. And you're going to have to go to like somebody, all right, I need an 06 or an admiral to tell me what hey, yo, dog, how do you interpret this? Because, I mean, if you're the big wig here, you make that decision, Mr. Admiral, that's what I'm going to go by.
Yeah. Are you going by the letter or are you going by the spirit of whatever?
That's
All right, let's circle back to politics. But yes, I do believe that it should be talked about.
Okay,
yeah. For sure.
No, it should.
Especially in this day and age where we have very intellectual people. We're not very, everyone is very emotional. They have very strong beliefs, and none of those should be diminished in any way, shape, form, or fashion, because everyone is different, and we need to embrace those differences. Otherwise, we're never going to move forward.
Yeah. And I believe, like, with politics and religion, I am of the belief that when it comes to politics, when actual policy making decisions, it should not be based, especially for a country as vast and diverse as ours, it should not be based on one particular religion. It's like, oh, well, you hear people talk about like, oh, we're founded as a Christian nation, X, Y, and Z. I don't think that, given that the vast majority of people within this country, you should then base all decisions in accordance with your faith.
Yeah.
In this case, being Christianity.
Yeah.
And it's not anything against it. I'm absolutely fine with people worshiping whatever, but I think when it comes to governing people, that should remain as neutral. Try to remain as neutral as possible. I know it's not possible.
Yeah.
I know that we're going to have lawmakers, people in power who are of different faiths. And if we're all Christian, all right, are you Catholic? Are you Orthodox? Are you Baptist? Or were you raised Jehovah Witness? That sort of thing. So I think it injects too much confusion if we start like, oh, right, talk about here in Louisiana, we're gonna mandate that all classrooms. I know this is getting into hot territory. Oh, we're gonna mandate that all classrooms have the 10 Commandments. Really, is that necessarily something that we as a governing body should be deciding? Especially if you have people in those classrooms, children in those classrooms, who are of different faiths, and
Yeah.
I
Well,
know I'm going off road.
No, it's okay. All right, I'm gonna make a statement, or I'm gonna ask a question and make a statement.
Okay.
Because I know we have. So I'm gonna make a statement anyway. I know we have separation of church and state.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad that the country, because I mean, the country was kind of founded with the Christian faith or Catholic, whatever whatever.
Yeah.
Just you were saying. All right, I'm glad it was founded on that.
We're a Judeo-Christian country. At least we were.
Thanks for the interjection. There we
Those are the words you were looking for.
Yeah.
He forgot to press the button again. Okay, I'm glad the country was founded on that, because we also have the separation of church and state. So the question I'm going to present to you is the real hardcore Muslim countries set their laws off of their faith. So would you prefer ours or theirs? And I don't mean the religion aspect of it. Mm-hmm. Would you rather have whatever it is the way we did it or they did it?
I think I don't.
Does that make sense? Because when I say the Muslims or whatever it is, Middle East, the extremists, I guess, and Iran is kind of where I'm going to go, where women are subjugated kind of thing. So it's like, all right, I'd rather have the Christian thing where you can do what you want to versus the Iran thing where it's, no, you're going to do this. And then they just treat women like shit.
Yeah, because in that case, if you're talking about Iran, it's a theocracy. So everything is based around, like, your government, everything is based around the religion. Here, at least the aspiration of it, and the founders who founded our country were of the Judeo-Christian faith. They understood that, and they believe that. They believe that religion shouldn't have an effect on, like, our everyday governing. I mean, that is religion is personal.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about governing, you're talking about the collective. We're not talking about the individual. The individual can do whatever they want. They can worship Satan. They can worship
spaghetti.
The spaghetti monster, the space spaghetti monster. They can do whatever. When we're talking about governing, we're talking about the collective.
Yeah.
So I don't think, at least, and I know that the founders didn't want to.
So you'd like it better the way we did it versus the way?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. That's why I'm getting.
Okay.
Because like I said, they base their government off their faith, which is why they have Sharia law, which is treating women like shit. Versus we had the Christian thing, who are they Judeo-Christian, who went that route and then was like, okay, well, we're not going to interject this. I just like that we did. I feel like we did it better.
Yeah, we did it better because we kept it neutral. And you can, there's something I was reading a few months ago on, because it crossed my mind, like, just this whole question of church and state and religion and politics and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
In the early 1700s, we were actually, ironically, Coast Guard was involved in this. It was with the. With pirate. It was like the Treaty of Tripoli. It's called. Hang on. I'll bring it up.
I got a producer for that.
Oh, Treaty of Tripoli.
Producer Treaty of Tripoli.
He's playing EverQuest. He's playing
Diablo.
He's playing Diablo over there.
Okay.
Trust me,
I
this
brought it up.
laptop will not support Diablo.
I brought it up. Article 11 of the 1797 Treaty of Tripoli states, the government of the United States of America is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion. That is what that is. It, granted, like that clause was put in there in that treaty, like to sort of appease to, Tripoli was an Arab country at the time, or I think it still is.
It's now Libya.
And now it's Libya. Yeah.
Oh,
now
well,
it's
we know how good that's going.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would be great to visit there. I hear it's nice this time.
Yeah, it's nice this time of year.
Especially as a Christian, you know.
Yeah. Go vacation there with kids.
Let's do a group
Highly
vacation.
recommend. 10 stars.
Yeah.
But that again, 1797. That's pretty like we formulated the Constitution a few years before that, and these are all the same founders that wrote that. They understood that, all right, in order to do business with other countries, in order to do business within the country, you can't like have it founded on a dogma of one particular religion. And even if it was founded on one particular religion, as we see in these other countries, these protesters in, like, say, Iran, they're still Muslim, but they're protesting against the government, which is supposedly founded on Muslim or Islam values. So you're going to have different interpretations by the people who are even Christian within the country. Oh, well, I believe that these people shouldn't be able to get married. Yeah. Oh, well, I believe that, using your example of wooden instruments, well, God said that we have to play on blocks of wood, not any brass instrument. Yep. So I think it just leads to ultimately more confusion, which leads to conflict, which leads to
who's ever going to win the battle is going to make the final decision.
Yeah. And I think keep it as neutral as possible. And I know it's not possible because we're all human. Yeah. So certain values are going to creep into whatever decision.
And then it sucks because some of the stuff that I believed whenever I was younger have completely changed.
Yeah, you evolve.
Because I mean because we constantly changing. It's just that's the way things work. Yeah. So I like all right. So look, that's already worked because we're already talking about politics and religion. Look, so far everybody's
kumbaya.
I like it's great. It's great so far. What you got, producer?
Okay, so the Treaty of Tripoli was signed in 1789, right?
1797, at least what I pulled.
Okay.
Up. Yeah.
Would it surprise you to find out that the United States Constitution wasn't finally ratified until 1790?
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, that's what I was saying. Like, it only a few years earlier, we just established, like, George Washington was still in office, I think, at this time, or just got out of office at this time. So it's like we are a brand spanking new country. So, yeah. And I know that, like, if you actually read into it, like, that verbiage was put in there to, again, appease sort of the country that we were dealing with, which was Islamic country.
Libya.
Yeah. Or at that, Libya. Yeah, Libya.
I mean, if you just say Tripoli, nobody's going to know.
Yeah, Tripoli. Yeah,
nobody's going to know.
Where Tripoli
They're going to be like, what the fuck? I don't even know how to spell that. Like,
how many T's are in Tripoli? But
I think there's 12.
12 T's.
11 of them are silent.
I think Louisiana had some influence. It also has an EAUX in it also.
Oh, yeah.
All right. All right. There we go. All right. So we're going to move on. Let's see. Immigration.
Immigration. Ooh. Not a hot button topic.
No, not at all right now. Especially all the stuff that's going on at work.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking getting ridiculous. Yeah. All right. Somebody want to go on immigration? Y'all want me to?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. I think that legal immigration is an awesome thing.
Yeah.
I think illegal immigration is terrible. And I'm not going to say that I agree with everything that Trump's doing, but I like the concept. Like, I mean, the asylum seekers, I get it. And I understand it's hard to be over in Mexico because, I mean, I think, I forgot who it was. Maybe it was Sam that was saying it. Like, he's like, have you ever looked up how many politicians were murdered in Mexico trying to get elected? And I looked it up, and like it was legit. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And so I understand like it's hard to like hang out at the border and be like, "Oh, can I get in legally?" No, sorry, bro. You got to go over there and you got to do all this good stuff and sit and wait. And they're just like, cartels right by. You know, I was like, I get all that asylum shit, but I mean, I just don't agree with the breaking the law to get here and to get here and then be like, no, I'm good. It's like, well, you already broke the law to get here. So, you know.
It doesn't bode well.
Yeah. No. And I mean, like, I don't even know does anybody know what the gun laws in Mexico are?
Is
Producer. Hey, what's the gun laws in Mexico? Because I mean, like, it seems like if the cartel is just like taking over, pretty sure there's more civilians than there are cartel members. So I feel like the people, if they had guns, could fight the cartel and be like, your people roll up on me. I got them too, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, jump if you want to. Because I mean, like, if that started going down here where cartels were taking over, like, it's not going to happen here in Louisiana. There is too many coon asses, as he said. And, white trash.
The Cajun. Cajun.
Like,
what is
don't
it?
even talk. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Sponsored by the Cajun Navy.
We're going to redact that. We are not sponsored by the Cajun Navy.
Absolutely not.
He's looking that up. But yeah, I think legal immigration is great. I don't like the shit that's going on. Like I said, I like the Trump concept. He might be going about it a little strong.
I think on paper it probably looks amazing, but when you put it into like practicum, there's a lot of other red tape. There's a lot of other hoops you got to jump through and whatnot. But I'm not a proponent of illegal immigration whatsoever.
You're not a. Oh, you're not a. Okay,
I'm not a
you don't like illegal immigration.
I do not like illegal immigration.
I
don't like illegal immigration, not just for our own country, but any country.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't support illegal immigration. Of course, I'm going to support legal immigration. I think it's also, you can apply that for anything. Like, everybody supports the legal version of whatever action. Yeah. I can absolutely empathize. So I had a conversation with...
Here, let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Couple comes across illegally.
Mm-hmm.
She gets pregnant, has the baby.
Yeah.
And this is always a sensitive subject whenever they start talking about immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Baby's born on U.S. soil.
Yeah.
If you're born in America, American citizen.
Yeah.
What happens when they all get caught?
I'm fine with the...
keeping the parents.
Okay. The baby stays, of course, because that is letter of the law. If you want to take it by the letter of the law,
that's Constitution.
The baby, that's Constitution.
You can't get away from that. Like, sorry, that trumps all you motherfuckers.
Yeah. That is written, enshrined, and So the baby stays.
That's not technically correct.
How so?
Okay, you're talking about the 14th Amendment.
Yeah, 14th Amendment, article, whatever. Yeah.
The 14th Amendment was specifically written to make sure that freed slaves became citizens of the United States.
Absolutely.
100% agree with that.
Yeah.
It was much later on when a Supreme Court justice, and I'll have to look it up, globbed on to a ruling that said, oh, if you're born here, you get to be a citizen. Mm-hmm. It did not come about as a result of the passing of the 14th Amendment.
But does the 14th Amendment specifically state that? I remember looking at it because I remember when this was, birthright citizenship, when this came up a few weeks ago. Like, I went back to the 14th Amendment and read it. And it was like, okay, well, they can't just automatically remove that. Hang on. Let me.
That's why my producer's getting it.
No, he's getting it. Okay. Yeah.
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you being part of this, baby kangaroo.
Yeah, how about that? Jeez, I lost my train of thought. Let me take a sip.
You getting old?
Yeah.
There you go.
Take a sip. Clarify my mind.
Get your mind right.
Get my mind right. Jesus Christ, I don't even know. So we're talking about the 14th. We're talking about the 14th Amendment specifically.
Yeah, and the child stays.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
That's what I was trying to remember. Yeah, the scenario.
Because I mean, I don't know. I've never actually thought about it long enough to actually formulate an opinion on it. I don't know how I feel about what we do with the parents. Because I mean, I think separating the kid and the parents, I know that's fucked up.
Yeah, I certainly
think
think
that's very traumatic.
Yeah, but I don't know where I stand on it.
I don't know where I stand on it because I don't know a plausible solution.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a very slippery slope, because until someone actually presents a plausible solution to a situation, it's hard to even form an opinion about it. Because
I'm going to give you the real simple answer that was told to me by a Border Patrol and CBP agent many years ago. The child gets U.S. citizenship.
right.
That does not guarantee the parents get to stay in the country.
Yeah.
It only means that, because they can deport the parents and they can say, well, you have two choices. Your child can either stay here with a relative, or you can take your child back. When your child becomes 18, they can then come to the United States again.
What if they have no relatives here that are legal?
Then they go back with the parents. And when that child becomes 18, they can come to the United States.
But they would still, the child would still be a U.S. citizen,
Correct.
regardless of, like, even though it's like fresh
Well,
and born.
that's a very simple, clear and cut solution.
Yeah,
I mean,
but what happens to the kid when they go back to Mexico? How does that work?
they just have dual citizenship.
I mean,
And they live with
is that not? I mean, and I'm doing a devil's advocate.
Yeah.
y'all.
Sure.
It's because the Mexican government can then say, well, we know that you're Mexican citizens, but your child is an
Is
American
not American,
citizen. Yeah,
yeah.
like so. What?
So we're
happens?
going to port you back to America.
Yeah, so it's like so I mean,
Be
like
this back
that's
and
why
forth.
that's
Yeah.
why I said it's like I don't know what a good solution is because I've never thought about it long enough. Because like,
Well, that's where diplomacy comes into effect, right? Like,
oh yeah, good point.
then diplomacy can be like, okay, well, the parents have chose to bring the kid back home. They're coming back. And then it's
Wow.
like diplomacy then comes into effect and says, okay, well, then we'll let the parents bring this child who is now dual citizenship back here. And then when they become of age and they decide they want to leave, they can leave. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Hey, look at that. Tammy came up with the best solution. Absolutely.
There you go.
And you're welcome.
Tell the American government to call the Mexican government and say, hey, Mexican people,
Let's have a
Mexican government,
conversation.
we got to have a conversation, figure this out real quick. And then there's the medium.
Yeah, but absolutely. There's the medium for that specific scenario, and I
Right.
think the problem
Right.
is that given how many different scenarios, like okay, you can say like, oh, I'm running away from the specific cartel, and I know that is something that migrants use like as a justification for like, oh, your fear to return to wherever you came from, like oh, I'm fleeing like this gang, I'm fleeing, I'm a political prisoner, all that stuff. So I understand like each situation is different, and I think that's the problem with trying to propose a solution, because
It's going to have to be case by case.
yeah, it's going to be case by case, and you're going to have to go back because of the nature of politics. Like for that scenario that you propose, like, all right, if you let the parents stay, oh, you're a proponent of
Illegal
immigration. And if you take the parents away, oh, you're separating families,
Yeah.
and you're a piece of shit. Yeah. So, through the nature of politics, someone who's trying to get elected or whatever, maintaining their position of power, they don't want to be the one left with that hot potato. And it's like, you have to make a decision, and it better be the right
again,
one.
it could be okay. So here's the thing. I think it could be case by case. Of course, diplomacy needs to be involved and taken into consideration. But the problem is now is we're inundated with these case by case situations.
Yeah.
And now we don't have the manpower, the time, the resources to take it case by case to say, let's have a conversation about what's happening here and decide where we go from here.
Yeah.
We're just inundated with these.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's too much. We're just flooded now. And it's just like, well, okay, so how do we do this? Can we
We got to find a
put
way
the
to
dam in and stop this flood, and then filter out the easy ones that are just like, clearly you're not here for the right reasons and you're here completely illegally. Let's get you back. And then start to filter it down to these specific cases.
Yeah. And I'm going to take a moment to talk about this. It's like this does cross into like a sort of moral thing. Like and that's why I was saying in the beginning, like I can empathize for a majority of the cases because you're coming here, you are pregnant, you give birth here in the United States for malicious. I mean, I don't want to say malicious. For
I get
you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
If
you
yeah,
come
you're
across and
breaking the
you're
law.
8 months pregnant, you're going to be giving birth here. And
Yeah,
you know
you-
exactly what that's going to mean.
You know what's coming. You
Right.
know that the child that is born here will be a U.S. citizen.
It may not be
There's-
malicious.
and
There's
it's all that stuff.
intention behind
There's
it.
a cottage industry in China for people to come to the United States and have their children for that very specific reason.
Oh, jeez.
So I can absolutely empathize with like this different situations. I understand the motive, and we can get into the history of like, all right, yeah, I understand why you fleeing from Honduras wants to come to the United States, to the shining city on the hill or whatever. I completely understand why you want to do that. And as a moral thing, like if you're speaking from the personality of America, if I can personify America, and
You do.
yeah, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Why do you sound like Elvis when you say that?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Sound a little Elvis.
Caught in a trap. I can look, if we're being mature, like, all right, step into the shoes of America and look at like what you have done with your neighbors. And we can go into like from the 40s to the modern day, like, oh, what we've done with our neighbors to the south for the past 40, 50 decades.
Bro, I can
understand.
I can simplify that for you. We can't even get the HOA straight.
Yeah.
There's only 52 houses in the goddamn neighborhood. We can't fucking get straight on anything with everybody. And it's just like, all right, now I get it.
Yeah.
We can't even get this fucking straight.
Yeah.
A few thousand people, what is it, 3,000 people in the city. And it's like, I can imagine the complexity as it becomes large.
Bigger and bigger.
And like what we as a country have done to the other countries and we're going to eventually get into this. I don't really care about religion and politics with that. I care about money and politics, because that's the real danger.
Oh, yeah.
That's the real
absolutely.
danger. So, we can talk about, if we're talking about illegal immigration, we could talk about how, whatever fruit company wants to grow bananas in Paraguay or somewhere, and like, oh, yeah, we want to basically use slave labor to get bananas and pineapples and whatever nice fruit in the early 19th century. Oh, yeah, we want that. And, the government in that country is saying like, oh, actually, we want to reap the rewards from our own natural resources. And then we come up with the idea, well, you're sounding a little communist to me. So then we use the CIA to install a coup d'etat in that country. And then, you get a piece of shit who's the dictator of that country, but it's all fine for the bottom line of whatever corporation. Yeah. And so that in turn fucks that country.
Yeah.
And so generations go by, and you can talk about with the cartels, you can talk about gangs, whatever. Eventually, those people smartly want to get the hell out of wherever you're in, because you want to seek a better life for yourself, your family, your loved ones. And the country that has reaped the rewards of that, it's like, you are kind of in a long way owed that sort of prosperity that was then taken from you. I absolutely empathize, and like I said, and I don't want anyone to walk away with thinking like, oh, he supports illegal immigration. No, I don't.
You're doing a very good job of explaining how complex the action, because it's not
right.
It's not black or white.
Right.
And this what I'm saying, like, for a big simplification of it, just saying like, all right, we're just gonna close the border and we're gonna take everybody who shouldn't be here, who wasn't here illegally, or who is here illegally, we're just going to send back. It's simplifying a very complex situation. Yeah. And I think that rhetoric can be dangerous, because like the whole thing of mass deportation. Okay. Yeah. It sounds nice again on paper. It's like, all right, if you're a law-abiding citizen, it's like, okay, someone who is here illegally, all right, they should go. The reality of that is that you're going to then have to be forced to deal with very complex situations. And if you have rhetoric or policy backing saying like, you shall remove people who are here illegally by any means, it's like, all right, do you want to look at the reality of that? And we're gearing up for that. If it's like, all right,
No, I don't want to look at the reality of that because
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with this is why I said I agree with Trump in concept.
Mm-hmm.
If we went through however long you want to say we went the last we're just gonna use the last 4 years. I mean, I guess I'm shitting on Biden,
Sure.
so whatever. You know,
Joe.
he signed.
Uncle
Look,
Joe.
Sleepy Joe signed my retirement letter.
But
He gave me my commission.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got somebody in common.
there we
Oh,
go.
Grandpa.
Oh, Grandpa.
Thanks, Gramps.
Joe.
I like it because if you're going to go up, the concept that Trump's doing is the same concept that Biden did for the last 4 years. So I'm okay with seeing, if that's what I saw for Biden's 4 years, let's see what happens with Trump's 4 years. Maybe the guy who comes after Trump, which Trump can never be president again. So I'm also okay with that. Maybe the next guy after Trump can be somewhere in the middle and work with Congress to be able to, hey, let's come figure out some of these
let's
complexities.
find a middle ground.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if they didn't all have all this fucking wild shit going on in the fucking first place, maybe they would have time to sit down and say, hey, we need to talk about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Let's figure out these complexities and see if we can come up with a level, level one. It's like, you're crazy, go back.
Yeah.
To level two, where it's like, all right, we need a little more time. And you can just build something on that versus just, like I said, we've had 4 years of just come on in to 4 years of get the fuck out. Like, well, all right, so 4 years of I don't give a fuck, 4 years of fuck everybody else. So maybe who comes after you will be better because we're going on two extremes, which is why I said at the beginning we need to talk about things.
Yeah.
Because maybe if they wouldn't have been so, polar opposites, they never would have came to that in the first place. But y'all motherfuckers and elected officials can't come up with nothing. You fucking idiots.
Because you're not talking to each other. You're just trying to push your own agenda,
you're
and you're not listening.
You're fucking everybody. You're fucking the American people. You're fucking the people who are trying to get here.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, man. There's a middle ground, and y'all fucking doing this shit for so long. You can't, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's what gets me.
Yeah, and I will say, like, it's not even just a 4 year. It's the past. I mean, it's a decades long problem that's just like been kicked down the can.
Yeah.
They're like kicking the can down the road of just
Continuing
all right, we're
resolution.
at temporary stopgaps.
Continuing resolution.
Yeah.
Continuing resolution.
Yeah, you're not actually doing.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, all right, we're just gonna keep moving the date down the line
There we go.
to try and fix something.
Down.
And I will say, God, I can't believe I'm saying this in defense of Biden. I would say like it wasn't necessarily like free for all, but because he did end up keeping like a lot of like policies that Trump implemented.
There were a couple.
Yeah, there were a couple policies. I think there's a way you can. My whole thing is like whatever decision is made, you have to do it with some degree of compassion. You can't just all out cruelty doing it because like what I was talking about with the mass deportation, it's like, all right, that sounds good on paper, but the reality of that is you're going to be forced to use extreme methods to force people to be forcibly deported. We've tried that as a country. We've tried that back in the 50s. One thing that Trump currently touts on is Eisenhower's Operation Wetback, which is where we get the term wetback. They forcibly removed, like, I forget the exact metric of it.
Are you looking at me because you want me to look at it?
Yeah.
Producer.
I'm looking at. I was gonna try and like I was getting ready to reach for my phone, but I was like, actually,
while he's looking at that up, you can also go back to the 40s and World War II.
Yeah.
With the Japanese, and they rounded up.
Yeah.
Was it? I don't want. It wasn't concentrate, but camps.
Yeah. The
isolation camp. I don't know
the
word.
internment camps.
Internment. There we go.
I hate when they use concentration camps because then you're thinking like, the other thing that was happening
during
World War II.
Yeah, the Jews. Yeah.
Yeah.
Internment camps. Yeah.
So
same
internment
thing.
camps. Fun fact about that: Executive Order 9066. Are you a Star Wars fan?
Yeah.
All right. That's where George Lucas got Order 66
Oh
from.
my God.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Executive Order 9066. He just shortened that
He
down
just
to
shortened it
No
to
shit.
66.
Yeah.
Holy
That's my favorite fun fact about it's a terrible thing, but it's like,
No.
that's my fun fact about that.
No, that is
That's hysterical. That's
gonna
actually
make a
that's
check
a really
mark.
awesome
Yeah.
fun fact, honestly. I mean, not to say that it's great.
Yeah, it's not great, but
just knowing where that came from. Because
Yeah.
it's like, how did he? I just randomly picked some numbers.
66.
Well, I mean, the
Yeah.
stormtroopers are basically space Nazis.
Yeah,
I mean,
that whole
Yeah.
thing, the
Yeah.
empire is
Space
like
Nazis.
yeah,
That's all it
space
is.
Nazis.
That's why they didn't win.
Yeah, they didn't win.
We certainly ain't speaking German.
Yeah. But with that, yeah. So what you were saying, like bringing up the internment camps, like yeah, there's a way. Like if all right, where to alleviate the fears of America, which we can go into the one thing you can always count on America for is
Fear-mongering.
It's fear-mongering in relation to racism. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna.
Well, I'm racist, didn't you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, so I'm racist.
Yeah, yeah. Aren't we all?
Yeah.
We're here. Right? Yeah, so we can broadly, like, oh, yeah, like, oh, okay, to alleviate the fears of the nation, we're going to put in all Japanese citizens into internment camps. The problem with that, when you have a broad stroke like that, and what we're going to get back to Operation Wetback, when you have a broad stroke like that, it's not going to be peacefully escorting somebody to the internment camp. No, you're going to be dragging people's asses who are American citizens, dragging their asses out of wherever.
Their homes or
their
wherever.
homes to wherever.
Yeah.
And there's a degree of cruelty to that. So I think in getting back to Operation Wetback, there was a lot of that because there was illegal.
Okay, somewhere between 800,000 and 1.4 million.
800,000 and one. Yeah,
that's a pretty big.
Well,
yeah.
broad.
And
You
it
gotta
was
remember,
like
it's the government
California.
of the 1950s.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's true.
the numbers, they didn't keep nearly as good of records as we do now.
Yeah.
That being said, the biggest problem with Operation Wetback was there were U.S. citizens
And that's
got
what
deported.
and
Yeah.
that's what I'm getting to. It's like
Yeah.
with a big thing on paper, it's like, oh yeah, naturally you're going to have people caught, U.S. citizens caught
in the mix.
in the
yeah.
mix.
Yeah.
I was just talking with a friend of mine who's also in the Coast Guard. They did migrant ops. They were on FRC, and they found a situation where
I have some familiarity with that.
with FRC.
Well, with migrant ops.
With migrant ops,
on both the
Don't we-
interdiction side and the legal side.
Okay. Yeah.
I can speak with some authority on it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I know. Baby Kangaroo.
Baby
If I
Kangaroo.
can use your real name, Baby Kangaroo.
That's his legal God-given
Yeah,
name.
legal God-given name.
it's his government name.
Yeah,
It's his government name.
It's on your social security card. The situation that they found.
Baby
so
first
while
name, kangaroo last name.
Kangaroo last name. While they were doing migrant operations during the detainee watch, they found that one of the people was actually a citizen of Puerto Rico. I don't know how he got caught up in the mix, but he was a U.S. citizen, born and raised, and I think he got into some situation where he's been trying to get out of Cuba for a while. I don't know the whole situation behind that, but
So he's
regardless, he's a U.S. citizen. He was caught up in whatever mix, and he kept getting sent back to Cuba. No one's checked, like, oh,
and you said he was from Puerto Rico.
he's from Puerto Rico,
and they sent him to Cuba.
They sent him to Cuba, and of course, the only way you can leave Cuba is like
Don't
I'm
ever
gonna
come back.
I'm gonna try and like escape there, and so
Yeah.
he just kept getting caught back and back. And it wasn't until she noticed, like, oh shit, like he had his documents on him, and it was like, oh shit, you're a U.S. citizen, and it's like, so that caused a whole bunch of paperwork. But what I'm saying is that in these broad operations,
people are going to get caught
yeah,
up.
people are going to get caught up, and it's going to create large headaches, and especially imagine if you're a U.S. citizen, ICE or whoever breaks down your door, drags your ass out. Yeah, I know you're reaching. Where's my gun? They come, drag your ass out, and you don't even have an opportunity to explain yourself. And already down the line, of like, oh, I'm trying to get back to my home in the U.S. I've been in the U.S. for 20 plus years, whatever your situation is.
Yeah.
That's going to happen in these large operations that they're talking about. So I think what you're talking about, it's nuanced. So these complex solutions can't be solved with like, oh, yeah, we're just going to simply get rid of everybody who shouldn't be here because you're going to get people who should be here in that whole thing.
Yeah,
so.
but see, that's why it's still in the same thing that I said before. We had 4 years of the wide open thing to the let's just go ahead and just flush everybody out. I'm not saying that people aren't going to get caught up because that's basically what you're saying in a simplistic term is there's going to get people that's going to get caught up.
Yeah.
And that does suck for them.
Yeah.
I think we could be able to make restitution to the people who get caught up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We could make them whole again.
Yeah.
And I would prefer to do that than what we did for the previous 4 years.
Yeah.
And here's something. I think I sent it to Baby Kangaroo, but I don't think I ever got a response. So did you see now when I bring this up, let me go ahead and tell you, it was over dramatized completely. But the Trey Diagua gang or whatever the hell they were that got sent back to El Salvador. Did you see that on the news?
No, I did not.
All right. So I showed Tammy.
Actually, was this? I remember seeing something about some gang member, and this was like a couple of days ago, but I didn't actually read or listen to it at all. Was it? Did this happen a few days ago?
What was that, like a week or so ago?
Or a week?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like producer, can you look that up? The Trey, whatever it was, mass deportation.
It's Trey de Aragua, something like that.
Yeah.
My Spanish sucks. So.
Oh well, I don't even speak English really.
You speak Southern.
I speak white trash.
Yeah, give me a minute. And I'm going to throw a bomb in this whole immigration thing here in just a couple of minutes and talk about a couple of things that have come to light recently that may have a pretty severe impact on it. More in a minute.
Okay. Stay tuned. Don't touch your dial.
Okay, so while he's looking that up, so you can at least see the video. So what had happened is they had gotten it's basically that gang in Colorado that they showed they were outside the apartment building and they had guns and everything and they kicked the door in. Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't.
All right. Well, they were talking about this gang, and I think they were talking about this. I mean, MS-13 is larger, but this gang was just kind of just as bad kind of thing. Okay. And they deported either 200 or 300 of them. Uh-huh. And again, this is over dramatized, but and I believe if I recall correctly, I think the U.S. did actually pay El Salvador to take these people back because that's the whole thing that they don't talk about a whole lot. So it's like, oh, yeah, they took them back, even though El Salvador initially said, we ain't taking these motherfuckers back. Fuck you. We're better off without them. And then,
holding out their hand
yeah,
at the same time.
Like, there you go. Let me go ahead and grease that palm real
How much
quick.
would you think they paid El Salvador for that?
A few million.
Probably 50.
6.
6 million?
6?
6 million.
Yeah.
$50.
Is a bargain.
It's chump change.
Is a bargain.
It's a drop in the
Oh, yeah, it's a bargain.
Not even a drop.
So, so $6 million. All right, so they paid him $6 million, and when the plane landed, it was either 200 or 300 of them. Mm-hmm. And dear God, the police force to take like El Salvador, when they get you into prison, boy, they don't play.
Yeah.
If you ever looked up any of that stuff, they don't man, there was just, if there was 200 fucking gang members, there was 500 police officers there. And I mean, the whole ramp coming down from the airplane was just lined. And I mean, like this one on each step. Yeah. Then it was a line all the way to the bus. And I mean, they had them handcuffed and ankle cuffed and then hands to ankles and they couldn't even stand up. And like, there was just massive stuff. And I was just like, God damn. And then I'm like I said, watching it, it's dramatized, but I was also thinking, all right, if El Salvador thinks these cats are bad enough to do that.
Oh, yeah.
You were letting them run around here all willy-nilly and shit. Yeah. Like, that's one of the reasons. Like I said, that's taking that with a grain of salt because I'm not going to start pinching that apart and going through the ingredients of what that is. Yeah. Just talking about the end product. Yeah. It's like if they were that bad and that's what y'all had allowed to come here, I'm okay with that broad stroke. And if you catch a couple of motherfuckers up, like your boy you was talking about, like he needs to be made whole. Like y'all fucked him for a long time. However, even if it was a week, y'all fucked him for a long time. And that concept, he should be made whole.
Absolutely.
But I think I'm still okay with the broad strokes. Yeah. Fix the little issues.
Yeah. And I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. Yeah. Violent.
You lean left and I lean right. We're agreeing on something.
Oh my god.
What the fuck is happening here?
Oh my gosh. It's almost as if we're human.
I hope Congress don't hear none of this
No,
shit.
yeah.
If anybody up elected official hears this fucking, wait a minute, they're getting along.
Who
They
knew?
agreed on
Oh,
something.
Who knew having a conversation
Yeah.
would actually
Like
bring
human to
something
human.
out?
Yeah, jeez.
Somebody's gonna
What
knock
a
at the door next week
concept.
when this gets out and gonna be like, "Yeah, you need to come with us,
Yeah,
FBI, bitch." Like,
You're
oh,
sounding a little communist to me. Let me
getting along. How fucking
Yeah.
dare you? Oh.
But I absolutely agree with you on that. But yeah, violent criminals of any, whether you're born here or born elsewhere, you should not be just willy-nilly.
Because I mean, I think
All
her and
around.
I've talked about it before. It's like, breaking the law. Like, just gonna go with this one because this is kind of to get a point across.
Yeah.
Raping a woman.
Yeah.
Abhorrent.
Mhm.
But if you've already broke the law to get here and then you do that,
Yeah.
the multiplicative in that, I can't conceptualize in my mind. It's just like, I can conceptualize how large space is.
Yeah.
And the only reason I can do that is because of Men in Black. You see
Oh, yeah,
the end
yeah,
of
the
it when
marbles.
yeah, see, that's how I can conceptualize. I can grasp in my head how vast space is,
Yeah.
but I can't conceptualize an illegal person here
Yeah.
doing that. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't get over that.
Yeah. You're already
That's-
betting on 1,000. and
Yeah, I
you're-
just
yeah.
my mind blows up and will not get there. I can't do it.
Yeah, and I agree. I can't conceptualize that either because, like I said, you're already betting on 1,000, and you're gonna do this shit
Yeah.
here.
So I mean,
But I also feel that with these cases, they are not even the exception to the rule because it's not like it's such a low percentage of it. I would say the majority of illegal immigration comprises of people who are here on overstayed visas and overstayed visas from anywhere. We're not just talking about our neighbors to the south.
yeah.
You're also talking about like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use Margo over here. Like someone from Europe, like decides, oh yeah, I'm gonna stay here. Those are the majority of these quote unquote illegal immigration cases. Yes, there are absolutely violent
I think
criminals who are here illegally.
Oh, the violence, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna
And-
say if you've overstayed your visa, those should be the easiest ones to resolve.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
If
also
you're not a criminal, obviously.
Yeah, it's the easiest one to resolve, but because it's so many, I also think that's kind of pushed back to the priority list. It's like, oh, we're just going to focus on the people who are crossing the Rio Grande, or like you said, these gangs who are gang members who are here in this country illegally,
Yeah.
and we can go into the whole thought process of like, well, this person from Sweden is staying here technically illegally. Are we going to focus on that versus like, oh, this person from Honduras is making people uncomfortable in Colorado? We're going to focus on that, or this community.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Sweden guy should not be priority by any means, but
Yeah.
he's
Unless he-
unless he's
he-
violent crime. Yeah,
Yeah.
you should
Yeah.
all get looked at.
I think violent people who are here illegally and who are committing violent crimes, that should be priority
Number one.
when we're talking about what we were talking about earlier, like families who are crossing the Rio Grande or wherever and having children, I think that should be handled with the most care that we can afford. I don't think it should be the black and white, like, oh, I'm looking the other way, or, oh, I'm just going to load you all up in a van and that'll be
Get
the
you
end
out
of
of here.
that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nuance to that. But
Yeah.
there are clear and cut things to this whole debate. Like, there are exceptions to the rule where it's like, all right, yeah, you're a violent criminal. No, duh, you're getting the hell out.
Yeah.
Or you're wherever. It's like, okay, we're going to treat you with white gloves and, like,
Yeah.
be gentle with that.
Baby Cameron, do you have something you wanted to interject?
Sir.
You ready for me to throw a big old honking bomb in all this?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
Smoke or stink?
14th Amendment, right, says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof
Mm-hmm.
are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. Pretty clear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Section 2.
I'm going to throw in something that was recently ruled by the Supreme Court that may throw all of that into chaos. And that is, the Supreme Court has said that illegal aliens are not guaranteed a right to the Second Amendment. And I think that what this is going to happen is that they're going to say illegal aliens are not subject to this jurisdiction of the United States. So if you have a child here, that's not guaranteed that your child will be a citizen of the United States.
Because you're illegal?
Because you're illegal.
Interesting.
So there's going to be a lot of litigation on this coming in.
Does it say what case that is?
Which one?
The one you just said, the one that...
Oh, yeah. Hang on a minute.
This producer thing is getting awesome. I'm liking this shit.
I'm liking this.
Fuck.
I feel like we're a little bit more legit.
I know, right?
Yikes.
Give me a minute. I'll find it.
Yeah.
Chauncey, did you see your text?
Yeah.
Does she want some wine?
No. She's. I asked her.
She wants some vodka?
Vodka?
Come on, girl.
Sure?
Girl, I got a brand new bottle of vodka over there. You might like it.
She's French. She wants good wine.
She'll open up later.
He
But
said...
you don't have any good wine.
I do have good wine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Brad actually got a bottle today.
Yeah.
Actually got 3.
barefoot.
Barefoot.
No,
The fuck?
I'm just
I got a black box in there.
a black box.
No,
a
it's
box.
Franzia.
Oh, Franzia, excuse me.
Franzia.
Yeah.
Oh,
Black box, Boda box, and Franzia.
Mm-hmm.
hell yeah.
We're fancy.
Yeah.
Fancy. Yeah, I love it.
I like what the guy said off of Ted Lasso. A fine wine doesn't have to be an expensive bottle.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, and you could apply that to anything. Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I see a nice bottle of rum or bourbon or whatever, and it's like in this big, intricate bottle. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to pay $200 for that, and it tastes like shit.
Yep.
Versus like,
Yep.
oh, I'm going to pour you something that you haven't really heard of, and you're going
Cost-
to drink it. And it's like, oh,
Costs $12. You're
Yeah.
like, damn, that's good.
yeah, it's a bourbon. Bourbon is, and we're going to shift to bourbon. Bourbon, and I'm voicing my father. Bourbon is should be an everyman's drink. And it wasn't until the pandemic that people of my generation or millennials like got into it and was like, oh, this is
actually
really
pretty good.
And then they suddenly raised the prices on all of them.
Yep.
So
Speaking of bourbon, how'd you like that one?
oh, I've had this before. And
Oh, you have?
It's fantastic.
Okay.
It's
All right, yeah.
fantastic.
Okay,
Blanton's
I was
Gold.
wrong. It wasn't the Supreme Court. It was our building, the Fifth Circuit in
Get
New Orleans.
the fuck out.
Yeah.
A 3-judge panel said that just because they're here illegally does not necessarily guarantee them the right to the Second Amendment. I expect this to get further
Yeah.
litigated.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Wait, you mean the 14th Amendment?
No, this
No,
is
it's the case.
This is a case that I think is going to have
you
implications on citizenship, birthright citizenship, because what they're basically saying is you're not afforded the same rights if you're here illegally as someone who is here legally.
Oh, okay. So even if you have offspring and you're illegal, you may not have the same.
Your
So-
kid may not.
Your
The
kid-
14th
your
Amendment
kid-
said if you're born here, you're it.
Right.
This-
it didn't
and
specify.
Ours said if you're here illegally and have a kid,
You may not.
your kid is not afforded that right necessarily. I think that's going to go to the
The
Supreme
court
Court. I think
case,
that'll get overturned.
the court case that everybody goes back to about birthright citizenship is the United States versus Wang Kim Ark.
Mm-hmm.
He was the child of 2 Chinese citizens, and this was in 1898,
Chinese Exclusion Act.
that were here legally. They had legal permanent residency in the country. They were employed, all the things that you expect for somebody who wants to stay in the United States. The Supreme Court said he's a U.S. citizen. His parents are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States.
Yep.
They're here legally. This is a non-issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think that the court's going to come back and address this again and say, if you're here illegally, you're not necessarily guaranteed the birthright citizenship.
I think the Supreme Court's going to say if you were born here, your kid's it.
Yeah, and because it's like, okay, there's what we talk about, the spirit versus the letter of the law. The letter, if we're just going to say it's like all persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state of wherein they reside, like you said. So it's like, yeah, that's if there's no like deviation from like, well, if you're here illegally.
I mean, that applies with every
Yeah.
single law.
Yeah, but
Because that's where we said
The
that earlier,
spirit of that law, though,
interpretation
is
comes.
that it was for freed slaves.
Exactly.
Right.
So it was for
Right.
people who were here
legally to
legally
begin
or
with.
to begin. Well,
Well,
we could go.
well,
Yeah, we could go into that. Like, well, they were here. They were here already.
Right.
And I think what, especially, and it hits kind of close to home because with her. Like when for our listeners, Margo, my wife, is a French national. And when this whole topic of birthright citizenship is coming up, it's like, well, it's also, I mean, it's actually, it hits home to every person here in the United States, because that, if we're talking about like, oh, overturning birthright citizenship, every person born in the United States is a citizen of the United States because of that amendment.
Mm-hmm.
And if that is suddenly thrown out the window, or
then are we all considered?
Yeah.
Are we all considered then illegal?
Yeah. Are we all considered? And I know, like, easily it will be determined, yes, you are legal. But then it's like, oh, well, if you have a child of someone who isn't yet a U.S. national, is that child then considered?
Oh, yeah.
That's already
Right.
Yeah, but that's already codified into law.
But yeah, and that's what that just as the 14th Amendment is codified into law, it's the amendment. It's the part of the it's the law of the land. So it.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm
Yeah,
going to interrupt you for a minute. If that's the case, then why aren't liberals calling people who are here illegally criminals? Because they are. By the strictest definition, they violated 8 U.S.C. 1325.
Mm-hmm.
And if they come back, which is a misdemeanor, I grant you that.
Yeah.
But if they come back, which almost all of them do, they
Mm-hmm.
violate 8 U.S.C. 1326, which is a felony.
Okay.
So they're criminals.
Yeah. Yeah, I can absolutely see.
They're not
what you're saying.
undocumented migrants.
Yeah.
They're criminals. In the same way that a bank robber is not a non-account holding withdrawal agent.
I was just getting some money that
I was just trying to get some money out of the account that's not mine, and it's not my money.
Yeah. I absolutely see that. Again, and it goes into like, all right, do you want to then equate a person who is here illegally for whatever? We talked about the two paths, like someone who's just trying to get here for a better life versus like, oh, you're a criminal who's escaped your country and you're here and you want to cause more havoc. Do we want to equate those people whoever they are, whatever background, do we want to equate them to the same thing as robbers, whatever,
murderers,
rapists, all that stuff? Do we want to then lump people into that? And I know that they're within talking about criminals. All right, there's then a hierarchy. It's like, oh, someone who jacks cars versus someone who steals bread versus someone who murders somebody versus someone who rapes somebody. Like there are different levels to criminality, but do we then want to, for however many people who are here illegally, do we want to then label them all criminals? Because then it's like, all right, this is a crime issue, and then now we're gonna view it through that lens, like, oh, well, we're gonna treat all criminals like XYZ, so all criminals need to go to jail, all criminals, blah blah blah. We want to then like go down that road?
No, what I want to do is I want to get a big push broom, push all the dirt out that I can, and then I want Congress to sit down and figure those levels out.
Okay,
that's what I want.
I understand, and I understand that.
Like
have them do their job.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, we want Congress to work.
I mean,
that's fucking.
Don't we pay them?
They weren't part of the RIF, right?
Yeah.
So,
you know what? Here. This is okay. We're gonna move on to the next one. 'Cause like I said, I feel like, that was a good conversation.
that was a great conversation.
So I think if me and you were to sit down with that, you had some really good points. I could be like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And then I think that level thing. Would you agree that the level thing is a good to like try to get it to?
Absolutely.
Because I feel like if we sat down and talked about it, I feel like we could come up with a solution. Like just broom sweep everybody out, make whole the ones that we fucked up on, and then we're gonna come up with this level. And that's what we're going to go by.
At this point, we can apply this to any conversation that we're having as a country. It's like, all right, let's leave decision-making body.
So you think we could figure? You think they should be able to figure things out and stop their fucking foolishness?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
because they're not actually arguing over like what they necessarily believe to the whole sense. I mean, I do for a little bit, like they're arguing for their beliefs. Again, getting into money and politics, there's money in having this discourse. There's money, and
Yeah.
there's a whole big machine of money like between generated from like, oh, I disagree with you on this, and you disagree with me on this, and
So
us arguing is
The people think
theater.
the people think
theater.
we're doing something if we're up here pissing and moaning to each other. You don't see it my way, fuck you. You don't see it my way, fuck you. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, my guy's winning. And it's like, what? No, you're all losing. Like, none of you motherfuckers are winning. Shit.
Yeah, this is all distraction.
Yeah.
But if we were serious about certain things, like things get fixed like that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like for the Roe v. Wade thing, to get back to that, when they were talking about in that decision to overturn the decisions for gay marriage and interracial marriage, like real quick, people were like, "Oh no, we're fixing that." A week later, 2 weeks later, it was surprisingly quick. Like, oh my god, we can.
But let's not talk about the right for a woman to choose what happens with her own body.
Yeah, because that's
it's like it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
It's more money and more quote unquote entertaining. I'm not saying it's entertaining, but entertaining in the sense that it's
political
theater. Money's being generated from it, and it's easier to divide. Whatever.
Yeah, more
like it's easier to talk about it than it is to actually fix it.
Yeah, more money in the disease than the cure.
Yeah,
yeah.
Which is why I believe I do think that we have the capability to cure cancer. I absolutely think that. I think that there are. I'm going way off road on this one.
Via stem cells?
I don't know. I
wonder if anybody's ever. I don't know. I'm sure they've tried that.
I'm sure they. Yeah. But my whole thing saying in cure cancer, it's like I think that there is more money in treating it than it is in curing it.
Oh yeah.
And so I think
what
that
would you
we will
have?
never.
What would you have as a job if all cancers were cured?
Yeah.
And so many people would be out.
Yeah.
Well, they could work on something else.
They could,
maybe
absolutely.
a cure for bird flu, which is apparently making a
100%.
resurgence.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why eggs are so expensive.
I know, right?
Eggs.
They're importing them. Oh, we're not going to go down right.
Anyway,
Okay, here we go.
Next topic.
Doge.
We haven't even started on one topic yet. At least not by the outline.
Yeah, we did.
Yes,
the first
yes,
two.
We went right down the list.
We've only gone through two
of
9.
Those two weren't on the list you sent me.
Okay. I guess I'm going to have to pull up my text messages. Because he also said I didn't text him a time the other day when I was like,
texting the right kangaroo, baby kangaroo.
Let's see.
I start with Doge, then Kamala, then Trump.
Did you talk about how politics and religion should be talked about? Immigration. Mm-hmm. And that's what we've talked about. Oh.
I know what happened.
Oh.
Look at that text message. Look at it.
Uh-oh.
Look at it. Look at it.
Do you see?
Yeah, I never opened it.
Oh.
There it is.
Do you see?
Why are you sending me a JPEG for what we're going to talk about?
Sorry, y'all. He has a Android, and I sent him it off of an iPhone. But when he touched this picture, it showed it appropriately. There we go. So Doge. Going back to that.
The Department of Government Efficiency. Let's talk about the irony in that.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about.
That is the most ironic thing that they had created. That's just.
I think it's hilarious.
I
think it's hilarious, and this is the Chancie and I talked about that. But it was the email that Elon sent out via OPM, or I guess OPM sent it out. But had OPM sent out was it's going to take 5 minutes to come up with 5 bullet points. And somebody crunched that math and said there are 2 million federal employees, and if that held true, to where it only took all 2 million federal employees 5 minutes, it was going to be 166,600 hours at a cost of approximately between $8 and $9 million. So the efficient
million,
$8 to $9 million.
Okay.
And they had an average salary of whatever for federal employees, and it's just like, oh, that's great. So the $8 to $9 million is more than half of Doge's whole budget to be able to cut waste and fraud for a 5-minute email. It's not very efficient. Grasp the concept. I think we all talked about that before. Grasp the concept. It's they're wanting to see if people are right. Because I'm sure there's a handful of people sitting out there who quote unquote work from home, who weren't working from home.
Yeah,
and I can get that's what the people.
There's more than a handful.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is. Well,
I was seeing people who I've never seen before in my life show up in the office. It's like, who are you? I rode up the elevator with some lady in our office. I'm like, okay, we're going. I asked her what floor. She said 13. I was like, oh, okay. You probably work down the hall or whatever. And then we start walking the same way. And I didn't ask her anything.
Did you go into the drat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second. You're the person with this.
Oh shit!
Office.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, she walked into the office on the left, the one that's a complete disaster.
Yeah. The one with the giant shadow box and all the coins and
that?
shit. Yeah.
I don't know who it is. I've never seen her either.
Her name's on the door. I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
Either.
I mean, I don't know who anybody is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you
mean,
work at night. You never see anybody.
Yeah.
And we like it that way.
Yes.
I'm
He
sure the
sees-
people during the day like it that way. Too.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
He sees the people he wants to see.
Yeah, which is his people he relieves.
Yeah.
And relieve him. That's it. Yeah, I think the concept of Doge was great. I don't agree with the whole entire return to office thing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's some jobs, like, if all I'm doing is, like, some accounting shit, I think I'd probably prefer to be at the house in my little office room.
And I'm just saying, when everything went from, going into the office and everybody went virtual, they actually did studies that people were more productive.
I think
Because they were
Initially,
there.
I'll grant you that point.
Do what?
Initially, I will grant you that
Right.
point.
Yeah,
But
I
then
think
people probably got lazy.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think that's where they were coming
And then,
from.
but here's the thing: the biggest thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, producer. The biggest thing of proponing or saying go back to work and stop working from home is because they had all of these buildings that they were still paying rent on, and there were no butts in chairs.
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, and I
So
yeah.
if you really want to save money and be efficient, stop paying for the building.
Well, I mean, I think they should just sell the buildings, which I think they're doing that with one building, aren't they?
GSA has come out and said that they're going to look at selling a bunch of buildings as a result of the fact that they're like 5% occupancy or something.
Yes,
like that.
and I think
It's-
that's
That's
a relevant thing.
that's the efficiency that I see is like if you already know something's working and you're wasting all of this money on this building that no one is in, get rid of the building.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch off for your point and Baby Kangaroo's point. Like you said, they did studies who said they were very efficient, more efficient at first.
Yeah.
And like he said, that
In the
that
beginning.
was true. I already told y'all I can't work from home.
Hmm.
By noon, by week 3, I'm gonna be drunk, and then by month 6, I'm gonna be drunk at 9. And I just can't fucking do it. I have to I need that distraction.
There
I have
are
to
a lot
have
of
that.
people who cannot work from home, and I get that because even in my job, which is 100% virtual, I work from home
Non-governmental.
every day. Yes, I am in the commercial
Yeah.
field. I'm not a government employee.
Private sector. Is
Private
the word
sector.
we want.
Thank you. But I absolutely love it. But I've come across a lot of people who are like, "How do you do it?" That would drive me insane. Not
Can't do it.
having a place to go to every day or working from home. And I'm just like, I love it. And then I come across people who are in the same mindset of me that is like, I am way more productive at home. And in fact, I have to literally tell myself, stop working and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it also has to come into a point where when you are working from home, you have to have like a designated space.
Yeah.
Right? I have an office. So I know the moment I walk in that office, I'm in work mode. The moment I leave that office at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I'm not in work mode. I can shut it off. But there may not be.
Government people were supposed to have had that too if they had a
Right.
telework agreement. They were supposed to. It's in that agreement that says, "Do you have a computer
workspace.
designated to that and a space where you can go just like that?"
Right.
So
Right.
like I had it,
Yeah.
but I can't do it every day.
Yeah.
I just can't.
See, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And in fact, I'm more productive in my job, and I feel more satisfied with my job
Mm-hmm.
working from home.
Probably because you don't have to put up with the bullshit from everybody.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
We have a coworker who has abused the telework system, and y'all know that. So when I
Should
say
we come up
people,
with a nickname?
Nope.
when I say that people,
Nope.
when I hear people say,
No
"Oh,
names.
you're just harassing people who work from home," no, we have it. We have a perfect example of people who are abusing the system.
Agreed. Now, if you have metrics that can, back up either you're being productive working from home versus not being productive working from home. I feel like that's a legitimate, that right there is efficiency.
Yeah.
Right? Because now you're saying, okay, well, here's some metrics. You can't really deny metrics and say, okay, well, this person has the same job, but yet this person has way more proficiency and has brought in more projects, done more things, done this, done that, whereas this person has done 2 things.
Yep.
That's a very legitimate argument. That is efficiency.
Yeah. And I will say, like, yeah, I have never worked in a telework situation before because I've always had to come in for whatever.
You got to get underway.
Yeah, got to get underway. Got to get the boat underway. I certainly think that there are some jobs that should be as flexible as that, or even in a hybrid situation where it's like, okay, you come in for a couple of days a week and then you come in. There are jobs where it's like you don't have to come in. It makes more sense not to come in and just handle whatever you have to handle.
Accounting.
Yeah,
I don't have to be.
You
in the
don't
office.
have to physically be in the office.
No.
And
Need access.
and I understand like the reason why. Like, all right, for the broad, all right, we got to get everybody back into the office because the government is paying for buildings that no one's in. Yeah, that is wasteful. I do concur on that one. But most definitely there should be, depending on the job, depending on the person, depending on how efficient they are.
Ground.
Yeah, that middle ground. It's like, all right, you work better at home, fine, we can do that. You're working in a situation where you have to be in. Yeah,
and then
get your ass into work.
Instead of the whole building, how about this then, government? Why don't you sublet the rest of the floors and have one floor for the people who need to be actually in an office to work, and do the hybrid? If people want to work from home, let them work from home.
Let me do you one better. I think they need to keep. I think they need to do what they're doing now. I like that they cut some of those jobs, and I like that they said everybody come back. If this is a big if, so y'all go work with me.
Yeah.
If they go to the path where it's just like, okay, like I said, the accounting jobs, if they start looking at that and it's just like, oh yeah, you 300 people are accountants, I don't need you to come in to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe I need you to just come in on Fridays and all you have to do is come in and see your supervisor.
Yeah.
Then they can say, okay, now we're going to say you 300 people can go work back to working from home.
Right.
And now we can say, okay, can I move these people from over here, that building to this building? And now we have another empty building. Let's go sell that building. Because, I mean, there's ways to start trimming that fat and reshaping things to make it look prettier and be more efficient. That's some efficient shit.
I'm hoping that all of this that's transpired now, because it does seem like it's a big blanket, throw it all out there. Everyone has to go back to work. Everyone has to fill out this email. Yeah. I'm hoping that it does then dwindle it down, and then they start picking it apart and they start breaking it down and saying, okay, well, again, these 300 accountants, you guys can go back home. We can do something else with this portion of the building. Yep. We're making money. That's efficient. I hope that that's the road that they're going down.
That would be dope.
Now, have they told us that?
No.
Absolutely not.
What Elon did say was, he did, I think it might have been on Joe Rogan, but he did say, he's like, we're not perfect. We're going to make some mistakes.
Sure.
He's like, we're going to fuck up somewhere. He said, the thing is if somebody brings it to my opinion, we're going to fix it. Yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. So,
and again, to his point,
I'm going to go with a big broom on all of it, and then we'll work
in the private sector.
Intricacies.
In the private sector, this RIF, I guess we'll call it, reduce in force or whatever.
Oh, yeah, reduction in force.
Reduction in force. Yes, this happens in the private sector every year.
Elon did it.
It's happened in every company that I've been in. It happens every year, and then once the dust settles, and they start looking at their finances, starting to see, okay, what money's coming in, what are we looking at? Then they start hiring people back. So if that's his thought process is, okay, we're going to make this more efficient, as in, this is what we do in this is what happens in the private sector literally every single year.
Yeah, I think there was one of the Democrats that I heard, which is, like I said, I'm meeting the middle somewhere, but I agree with one of the Democrats, and they were like, hey, what Elon did, which I said, Elon did that in his company. Mm-hmm. And one of these Democrats said, hey, that doesn't work with government. And I agree.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking work in government. Just like I said, it costs between $8 and $9 million for you to do that 5 bullet
again-
fucking email. So you can do that because it's your company. You're doing that shit to the taxpayer. Like,
Did
Yeah.
Congress have to answer that email?
of course not.
Of course not.
See, this is where I have
if
a
they were even in their offices at that
This
time.
is
and
why
not
I
at
have a
They were on
huge,
yeah.
huge
Vacation
problem with
for
that
3
because
weeks.
they should have been included. They're government employees.
Yeah, yeah, and
What
this
would they,
is
what do you
I pay their salary for
what do
Christ's
you
sake.
what do you
Yeah.
put as a congressman? I argued with the Democrat
Exactly.
for the last
Let's see what they
6
did
weeks.
because what was it back in the day?
Nothing.
You and I have talked about this a
Nothing.
bajillion times. Back in the day, to be a politician, you still had a 9-to-5 job. You still,
yeah. You
this
were
was,
going
it was a
home.
privilege.
Yeah,
It was a privilege.
It's a duty position.
Right.
That is all that it is. It's as if you were on call forever as
Yes.
a watchstander.
Yeah.
That is
Exactly.
Ooh.
your job.
Quick,
And now this
Like-
is their full-time job.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to know what you did. If they weren't doing what you're doing every day, what are you doing? Give me your 5 things that you did today.
Yeah.
quick poll. No comments other than yes or no. Quick poll. Term limits on every elected government official.
Yes.
That's a long pause. Should I call you a long pause?
Every elected government official.
Yes.
Yes.
Right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Right the
But-
fuck now.
All right, cool. Just consensus. All right. There we go.
So yeah,
It'll never happen.
it'll
No, it'll
won't
never happen.
Just
I-
like we'll never have another constitutional amendment in this country.
Yeah, I don't think we will either. No, I was just curious. We don't
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just kind of. We don't have to go down
Yeah.
that rabbit hole.
We're
I
too
was-
split.
I just wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. I just wanted to see where everybody thought because I think, look, we all agreed term limits because they're not.
They're not
turn-
doing anything for the greater
Yeah.
good.
It's
at
not
this
lost
point.
on me that Congress enacted term limits for a president, but not for themselves. When they had the opportunity, they could have just put it for all
all
of them.
elected
Yeah.
officials.
Yeah.
Yeah, why would they do that? Just
And
It was
Congress
at a
is
point
also
where
making
Congress
a
was
lo-
way more powerful than
And
Yeah.
Congress is also at the point where they're making noises about trying to put term limits on judges.
yeah.
But not on themselves.
Not on
but not
themselves.
on themselves.
That's
well, it's just like
bullshit.
they don't. Let's see, how does their raises go? You can't vote on a raise for yourself, but it goes into the next year or the next something or whatever
they
it
can't
was.
do it. They
But
can't
but
vote
it's that-
on
but
for
that-
the current cycle.
But that unspoken agreement, just like I look at you and I just wink,
Mhm.
and like that's it. It's just
You
like,
vote for me,
yeah.
I'll vote for you.
Yeah,
Cool.
but you can't even say that. You just look at each other and it's like, hey, we got to vote on this fucking raise thing next,
Mhm.
and we just wink at each other.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, there we go, and like, come
It's
on.
stupid. It's so.
And they've
ugh.
complained that they don't make enough money.
All right, bitches.
Now I do.
Who
concur,
was that?
I do concur that. So as if we're just looking at base out, we're not talking about like what they're doing on the side or whatever, or their donors or whatever. They are the problem, which has led to why we have problems with the Congress, is that we have money in politics.
Yes.
They are grossly underpaid. Considering like what they're doing, they are grossly.
But what are
under-
they doing? Did they
but-
fill out that email?
Yeah, they didn't.
What did they do?
Exactly. They didn't do anything, and they're going to continue to not do things because they are then subsidized by the special interests that they are representing. So they are being paid like for the
essentially do
position
nothing.
that they are in, just purely for the position that they are in. They are not being paid for that. As if any other government official, like if we're going to talk about president, we're going to talk about judges.
I don't know. What is
gonna
the
talk
base
about-
salary of the president? Like $250 a year?
It's like 400.
I think that's a pretty good living.
It is a pretty good living, but when you have to go against interests that are in the billions of dollars, yeah, you're kind of looked at as a joke. Where it's like, yeah, I'm the
400,000 a year.
Yeah, 400,000 a year.
Plus he gets like 50 for expenses.
Yeah, 50 expenses, all that stuff, and a little pension after he is out of office. I do think that, yeah, as a president, if you're going against, and I'm not saying that, the president should be paid way more, should be paid millions of dollars. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when you're talking about money in politics and then you're expecting those people who are going against these special interests who are paying them in the first place, like they are not in a position of any sort of power for negotiation. It's like, yeah, I'm going against I'm going against big oil, and I'm a senator or congressman or president.
But it's not about the money you make, it's about the power you represent.
Yes. And if it's like, all right, do you want to get elected again? That keeping in mind that power, it's like, all right, yeah, you can talk to me. You can be against big oil, big whatever. All right, I won't be talking to you in the next election cycle. So there's that sort of threat of like, oh, well, I'm not in a position really to make any change, even though they are.
Right.
They are. And
because they represent the people.
yeah, they are supposed to represent the people.
But then the money comes into play, and then it becomes the big stopgap. It becomes the big blocker, right?
So then it's just a big lot of nothing. Oh, what's this?
Sorry, I'm going to interject some shit real quick.
Okay.
Just so you were talking about money and politics.
Yeah.
And I actually saw this shit earlier. And I think this is going to play over here so everybody can hear it. But I wanted y'all to see it too.
Yeah.
People argue that you cannot tax billionaires on the shares that they hold in a company because it is an unrealized gain, right? So they go like, yeah, you're worth 300 billion, but we can't tax you on those stocks because you haven't sold the shares, so you don't like have the money, right? But you're worth the money, but you don't have the money, so you can't tax the people on a thing because they don't have it. It's just there. Okay, fine. Then Elon Musk offers to buy Twitter, right? He offers to buy it. And then he says, in his offer, he goes, I'm putting up my Tesla stock as collateral.
But it's
then I'm like, so you do have it? Then I'm going like, wait. So you can buy a thing based on what you have, yes. But when we want to tax you, you can say, I don't have it. do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's therein lies the crux of it.
Yeah.
Like, just think of like the illogic of it. It's like such a fun game that like billionaires get to play because all their money is in that, right? Yeah. Like if you earn your money as a salary, that your money just gets taxed. That's it. You can't be like the IRS comes and you can't be like, I don't have that money. You can't be like, that money's in the bank. I don't have that money. What money? It's in the bank. Only when I take it out, then you can tax me. For now, it's in the bank, IRS. No, IRS is like, don't worry, we've got your PIN number. We'll handle this. But then if you have billions in shares, you can then use that as money to then get more money, but not get taxed on any money because you don't have money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Yeah. And this is what I feel.
So that was a Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
That was a Trevor Noah.
You know, this whole thing happening with Elon Musk and Twitter reminds me of, I think it was.
Yeah, that was a Trevor Noah thing. And I was sitting there watching this earlier today. I was like, oh, man, ain't that fucking true?
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but that goes back to Trump's first election when somebody said something about the system. And Trump said, I know the system's broken because I take advantage of it.
Yeah, he does. But I mean, like he said, close the loophole. I won't be able to use it. Why haven't we closed the loophole?
Flat tax.
I agree.
Everybody pays it. I know that it seems like it's punitive, but when people start telling me, oh, well, we should be more like Sweden and Norway, well, they clearly haven't done any research at all because the starting income tax in Sweden and Norway is 25% and everybody pays it.
Yeah.
Everybody pays it. So if everybody paid income tax in this country, all of a sudden they have skin in the game so that 50% of the population that doesn't care how we waste money might suddenly go, hey, man.
What the fuck are you doing with
What are you doing with my
25%
money?
of my money?
Yeah.
But and this is in the whole talk about efficiency and like looking at like, all right, do we need X number of people working in this job, whatever. Like that, it's not the amount of money that we receive as a country. It is, or that we spend versus how we receive. It is incomprehensible, like to think that, oh, because I cut however many federal employees, oh, that's gonna get back the.
Yeah.
No, that
it's
it's a drop in the bucket. It's a few seconds of our country's spending existence.
But when you look at it for years on years on years on years on end, it does add up.
It's still, yeah. Even if it adds up, I think like it's insurmountable.
It is still a drop in the
Yeah,
bucket, but it is
compared to the vast number of subsidies that are given to these corporations.
Agreed.
It's like if we were really serious about, all right, what's the real money that we're spending on? Okay, let's look at, we're giving hundreds of billions of dollars upon trillions of dollars in corporate tax breaks and in subsidies. It's like,
and then you go
that's
after
the money that we're
you
going
go after
after.
you go after the government employees, and you may save a few million.
Yeah, a few million compared to trillions of dollars. It's like, let's look at the people.
This really
who,
efficient?
Yeah, that's
Here,
not.
I'm going to give you something. This is where I'm going to meet you in the middle.
So
which
then
I've
you
talked-
just say we don't do anything.
No,
No, hold up. Here's
Everything has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay,
100%.
hold on. Here's where I'm told you I'm gonna meet you back in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Remember I told you we could meet on the middle thing with the immigration thing or whatever it was. Okay, here's the thing. Because I told you broad sweep of the broom.
Mm-hmm.
I would be okay with that broad sweep of that broom saying we've been giving the subsidies and all this shit to these large corporations for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, flip it. Broad strokes. Fuck all you rich folks. Fuck all you big ass corporations. I'll take a broad sweep on that, and then say flat tax. Fuck you guys. Because like I said, I think it was with the Biden thing, the Biden Trump immigration thing. I'm cool with the big sweep with the Trump thing. I'm cool with a fucking Democratic big sweep thing, and just say fuck these corporations. Because you've been doing it for so long. I'll go through some growing pains. Show me what it is, because that way I know. Because like I said, if Biden did what he did, Trump's doing what he's doing. I don't agree with any of them. And the next cat is able to meet that middle ground. Cool. Let's try that with the corporations. Fuck your tax breaks.
Yeah.
I don't agree. Like Trevor said, you're buying something that you're borrowing the money for
But
on the
not
stuff
paying
that
the
I
money.
have that
Yeah.
I don't actually have. Then it's the money and just fuck that shit. Let's just sweep it. Let's go. Find it. See if it works the other way. Because we've been doing it that long.
And we've met in the middle. But
We can't keep having this fucking happen. Fucking stop.
Hey, look at what happens when we
Jesus.
talk.
Stay in your fucking corner and I'll stay in mine. We can't
I'll
come to
stay
this
in my
middle
echo
fucking
chamber.
ground.
You stay in your.
God damn.
Look at what happens when people talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knew?
Oh, what a novel idea.
Who knew?
And like I was saying, I agree with you on like there need to be drastic measures. Like people always refer to, the whole slogan of "Make America Great Again," and then you ask people like, okay, like what period are you talking about? And it's like, oh, the 50s and 60s, the 50s and 60s, and it's like, okay,
we did go back 50 years,
nervously.
so.
I sweat nervously.
Shit.
Okay, what specifically about the 50s? During that time, admittedly, and I'm sure we all have family members like who haven't like been in a high ranking job or somewhere where you're making like millions of dollars. And it's like, okay, I'll use my example as a member of my family. My dad's side of the family is from Weller, from the Portsmouth, Virginia area. And they worked as longshoremen. And on a longshoreman salary, they were able to put their families through college. Was it completely easy? No. But they were able to put their families through college. They had a good union-paying job, and they were able to take the occasional vacation now and again and still have money left over for retirement. That's on a longshoreman salary. Nowadays, and I'm speaking like you could have a mid-level executive, I won't even say mid-level executive, middle management or just even regular management job, and you can't afford rent really without like breaking the bank every single month. I think during that time, and I'm not thinking that during that time, from the 50s to about the 80s, like and I will keep going back to the corporate side, like they were taxed in accordance to like the money that they were pulling in. Profit margins were understandably like, okay, we're not getting 50+% on our what we're getting back in for profit margins. Like, no, you're going to take your 4 to 5% in your profit whatever, and you're still living as a billionaire, millionaire, billionaire. But you also have an obligation, just as you have an obligation to your to your shareholders. You have just as much, if not more, an obligation to the people working for you for whatever company that you're working at.
Yeah.
And I think the relaxation of like, all right, we're gonna reduce the regulations or expectations on the corporations. I think that has then led to like the sort of fear. It's allowed for fear to creep in for different situations. You can talk about anything like, oh, the immigrants taking your job, or we're whatever. Your wages have been getting less and less because of X, Y, and Z, but not actually talking about the real reason why your wages have been allowed to continuously be garnished over time is because your overlords, your bosses are just getting greedier and greedier, and it's like because they're not paying their fair share as before. So people like to talk about, oh, back in the day it was like this. Well, they were forced to pay their fair share because I'm sure back at that time they were looking at cutting, like they want to squeeze as much juice out of this lemon as they want to. But there were regulations in place to make sure that, no, you can't just make a worker work for free. But now it's like, oh, things have been relaxed to the point where you have these Amazon workers. Oh, you need to drive in a diaper because you don't want to get fired. Yeah. It's like, no, that's absolutely ridiculous. You ought to be paid a livable wage.
Right.
And $1 billion. I'm sure if we taxed Elon or Jeff Bezos or whoever, and I love the products that they produce, but I'm saying, just disclaimer, I love those products, but I'm sure if we taxed them to the appropriate tax rate that they should be taxed at, they won't go hungry tomorrow.
Right.
They won't.
No.
How?
No, I'm gonna go on.
Yeah.
You were talking about one thing, and I thought you were talking about the amount of money kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the one thing that came to mind was you mentioned him, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. I don't remember what her name was.
Yeah.
She got whatever, almost
$250 billion.
Mrs. Amazon.
Mrs. Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah, Mrs. Amazon. Yeah. They were talking about how she donated money. And they're like, oh man, she donated $350 million last year to all these fucking charities. And like, it sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
And then I guess like I did when we started talking about the Doge thing, when you put it in perspective, that $200 or $350 million is like you finding 75 cents in the couch.
It's like, hey, here you go.
Yeah, and it's like it does sound dope that she donated, but it's like when you compare it,
it only really helps her. It doesn't help whoever she put the money to.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, it is helping them, and that's fine.
Yeah,
but I mean,
you want to know what her net worth is?
What is it right now?
$27.7 billion.
Oh Jesus!
What was it?
Let me put that in context.
Wait a minute. What was it? What was it when she first divorced? I thought she was worth more than that.
I don't think so.
Well, here that goes into Trevor Noah's thing. It's like, well, do you have the money or you don't have the money? It's like, oh, maybe you have 27 liquid, but it's like, oh, actually,
yeah.
And it's hard for people to get their heads around how much $1 billion is. So to put it in context, it's $27,700 million.
Oh, what?
That's her net worth. It's $27,700 million. I know that's kind of hard to understand what it is.
I thought you said billion.
No, she's worth $27.7 billion. But if you put it, because people they're much better at understanding how much $1 million is versus how much a billion is.
Yeah.
No.
So she's worth $27,700 million.
Oh, okay.
So it's like times, like it's like that.
You're doing
$1 million.
So she gave away what, $250 million?
You're doing the Diablo math when it shows.
I was told there would be no math.
5K million. Like what the fuck? I don't want Diablo math. Yeah. You want to start talking about math that way? We might as well start talking about fucking VA math. Fuck that shit. $27 billion. I thought she was worth more.
I think we already covered that.
Yeah. Yes, we did. We can always talk about that.
All right, move on to the next point.
All right, I took one of them off.
Okay.
Just gonna move on.
All right.
We'll talk about that on the side. Right. You already do.
Yeah.
You're just like you're just wanting to hear the name.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro.
Who?
Apparently, you're fans.
Yeah.
Do you like them, babe? I just got you turned on to Charlie Kirk,
Yeah,
and he does make some really good points.
he does.
And
The interactions that he has with people are actually very they're funny and they're also poignant, but I sometimes feel like his audience might be people who again aren't like us having a conversation. And so they're very set in their mind frame because of however they were or weren't brought up to go against or for whatever they were, and they haven't actually done their own thoughts, their own opinions. They haven't had these kind of conversations to be like, oh, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
And so where he's coming from, I feel like he does have points for backing both sides.
Yeah.
And it's actually fun to watch it because he does stump people. But I also think it's also in his delivery because he does use a lot of words that maybe like people wouldn't necessarily know. Like, okay, so case in point, earlier, codify.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I know what that means, but only in the context of how we were talking about it, not an exact definition of the word. So if somebody were to come to me and say, we need to codify that, I would be like,
The hell
Wait.
are you talking about?
what? And so, of course, I looked it up and was like, oh, that's exactly what I thought it meant because of in the context of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I think he does that to his audience and stumps them and puts them in a spot where they're like, but I don't know what you just meant by that.
You know what's the really sad part about that, too? Is he almost exclusively goes to college campuses.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's what I was going to say.
So what does that say about
College
the kids
campus.
attending college now?
Well, that's what I was going to say about
Yeah.
like what he does, because I don't like that. If I have to pick one of the two that I like the best, I like Shapiro better. But I don't. Charlie Kirk, I still like him, but he does do that. He talks over a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and while I agree with some of the things that he says, he's on point when it comes to with a degree that college is a scam. Because like he's pretty smart. He's done enough research and reading and understanding and conversations to know something about that. And he didn't have to go to college. And then he's right when he says college is, and I like hearing the kids like, who's college is a scam? And I hate that he won't just say, and I think he actually has said it before, but it really is. I don't think college is a scam. I just think they're scamming you out of some of your money.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Like
agree.
if you're going to go be, I don't even know an analogy to use. Like, you got to take these couple of electives that you have to make. Like, why do I have to have these couple of extra things that it's not even
I can
towards
answer
my
that.
doctorate? Oh, go ahead.
I can answer that.
Answer that.
Because college wants you to be a well-rounded individual.
person.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now, you ever notice, though, that Charlie Kirk, the people that come and challenge him, they're never like mechanical engineering students. They're always people who are getting like political science degrees.
I don't know about that.
Oh, no, I've never seen somebody
Well,
from an
you-
engineering background come and have
Yeah,
a
but I
debate
mean,
with Charlie Kirk.
yeah, but I mean, you'd have to go back and look at all those debates that he has and see if that ever comes out, because nobody's going up there and it's like, well, some of them tell what they're there for, but there's most of them don't go up there and be like, hey, I'm a mechanical engineer and fuck you, dude, I'm better. And like, because he even says, and most of them, he's like, what is it, 5%? Only 5% of college kids go to be mechanical engineers or civil engineers or doctors or lawyers and shit. So it's like, but then if you just want to remove that from the equation because it's only 5%. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And you say, that might be the big thing. Like you said, they want them to be well-rounded. I don't feel like they're well-rounded if they can't even argue.
Of course they're not
intelligently with
Argue
a
a
fucking guy
point.
who's, what's the
Yeah.
word for self-taught he uses all the time? Anybody remember?
Homeschooled. I don't know anything that he talks.
That would depend on the state.
Yeah.
Then we're talking about totally different shit. Homeschool in Mississippi? Oh, well. Ease
you
back.
just didn't go to school. I can't say talk to them on their personality. I don't like the methods in which I don't like gotcha sort of debate, because it's not debate. It's not. I was taught like how debate should be, like the formal sort of thing of debate. The idea of a debate is you're just simply talking to your points and trying to get the other side to try and at least understand, and then possibly not subscribe, but like
agree
or see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So my disclaimer.
Yeah.
So my disclaimer, I said at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. You use the word
Yeah.
gotcha, and I think I said earlier, Glenn back in the day with his fear mongering.
Yeah.
I think Glenn was a lot of fear mongering, but I mean, I did like how Glenn would start with a top person he's talking about, and then start branching out into little trees about this is why, because he was buddies with him, and then they're buddies with that guy, and he would go up that fucking thing.
Yeah.
So he fear mongered. He did. He had a lot of good points. Still kind of liked him about 60-40, you know. Yeah, Charlie Kirk, I don't like that gotcha shit.
Yeah.
And that's what I said in my disclaimer. I'm not trying to change your opinion, nor have I at all this entire time.
No.
You made your comments, I made mine.
And then
we
we
were
just
in the
take it
middle.
from 'em?
We were
Yeah.
in the middle somewhere.
God
There-
forbid.
And then we were in the middle, and then there were some things that
I'm waiting for
we
the,
could do the
blue
flip
sky
thing.
to cloud up with dark
I know, right?
clouds
and the asteroid coming
Yeah,
to
just-
destroy the Earth.
Yeah.
we met in the middle on some things. We feel there's some things that we could switch entirely, and try something different.
Yeah.
And like that's all they are. They're that clickbait thing.
Yeah.
Just like I had a friend of mine who wanted to be involved, and he was just like, man, he's like, I can get you 13,000 views like next week.
Yeah.
And I can get you, and then that's gonna double. And I was just like, bro, not the way you're going. I don't
Yeah.
want that clickbait shit, man. That's not.
No.
That's how Rickroll got started back in the fucking day. That was all fucking clickbait. That's the original clickbait. Bullshit.
not what this is
Is
for.
Rickroll, and that's bullshit. Yeah.
That's
Gonna
not what
give
this is
you
for.
up. Nah, I don't want that shit. I want
Yeah.
real meaningful shit, just like
Real
we've all had.
conversations.
Yeah. Because talking over somebody, and I'll highlight like Ben Shapiro, like just simply talking really quickly and spitting off a bunch of facts is not the same as having a debate. A debate is in essence a conversation. It's a structured.
It's a regulated conversation.
Yeah, it's a regulated conversation, and I haven't watched any of those Charlie Kirk videos where it's like, oh, you go into some black room and they have the ring of people sitting around, and it's like, oh, you have like 2 minutes like to try and debate with it. That's not
Surround, I think it is.
That's not. It's all theater, and I think it's also like you're coming at it. Here you are, like some whatever person. I don't know his background or anything, but just someone going into some room and then like you're well educated or whatever on a particular issue through your lens or whatever, and then it's like, oh, some random people just come by and you basically destroy them with the facts that you've memorized, or just like you're coming at them. I don't necessarily respect. I don't respect the way that they do things. Out of the two, I am more familiar with Ben Shapiro, and I feel that if I, as a man, were to have a conversation with either of them, I would probably have a conversation with Ben Shapiro, tell him to, hey, slow down. And like, just because you're spitting a whole bunch of things at me and I'm trying to come back at you with something, that in its own essence is bad, because I'm trying to come back at you with something.
I see, I'd like to have a conversation with both of them, but like you said, Ben does talk quick. I would pick Ben over the two. Yeah. I would like to have a conversation with both of them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're right. You know, it's because I mean, when you get into that situation like that, you've got this idea in your head that you're, like you said, you're putting your beliefs in with what little knowledge you have, and then you're going at somebody. And he always references where he's getting the statistics from. Yeah. So like, I could argue with you, like, oh, well, you talked to 10 people about it. Obviously, your information is flawed. But if you want to go with the I trust the government. Yeah. And he's like, I got this statistic from the Board of Labor. Mm-hmm. They're the ones who said this, who asked, because I mean, like that's like, all right, well, I'm probably going to trust the Board of Labor versus you going and asking 10 people You know, when they go back to the straw polls, and it's like, oh, I did 1,000 people. Great.
Yeah, good.
Well, now what 1,000 people?
Yeah.
Well, and then you can get into demographics with that. So yeah, they both gone that gotcha shit. I don't agree. Like, I do like both of them, and I enjoy seeing both their things. But even seeing Charlie Kirk with
Gavin Newsom.
Mm-hmm. It was great seeing that.
Yeah,
because I still feel that was more of a. I think maybe they agreed with like one thing with what I saw, but there's still those polar opposite things, and it's just like, all right. Well, I mean, you just
and we were talking about like the sort of the way things are edited too. It's like, you're going to you walk away from if Gavin Newsom had his camera crew or whatever, like let's say the roles were reversed. I think people will walk away with agreeing with whoever's hosting the actual thing. So it's like, oh yeah, we're having a conversation. Like we're having a conversation right now, and if
he did it.
No,
Charlie Kirk did it because whenever I think because I wound up seeing some shorts on it, and yes, Charlie Kirk watched that whole podcast, and would cut and interject. See where I got him?
Yeah.
See where this at? And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah. It's
like you didn't get him, bro.
Yeah.
You didn't get him. If you got him, it would have been the gotcha part would have been see how we talked about something that if we were both elected officials making that decision, I got him because we met in the middle.
Yeah.
Bro, you didn't get anybody. You just said my point's better.
Yeah.
No, man, you didn't fix anything.
Yeah, nothing
you
moved forward.
You didn't change anybody's mind. Sure. I think, got you. You looked the wrong way. You know that, hey, what's over there?
Yeah.
Oh, like when you're kids and you.
Yeah. You
so
look away.
Nobody could see that, but it was like you're looking away and somebody puts their finger next to your face and says, hey, man, look this way. And then your face hits your finger.
Yeah.
There's I got you. Is that really fun? No, it's fun for the person who got you, but it don't really solve anything or do anything. It's just fucking childish and foolish.
And it's all for entertainment.
Yes.
It's all for entertainment. It's not you're not solving the world's problems here. It's like, if we were to, we're having this discussion right now, and if later on, like you had, you interject, like you edit as you're editing, you interject like your own commentary after the fact. It's like, oh, you see, like where we had this conversation and he said this and I said this and ha ha ha.
See,
it's
gotcha.
not. Yeah, it's all gotchaism. I don't.
Gotchaism.
Gotchaism. I don't respect it because it's not like, all right, you're not actually changing anybody's mind, and if anything, you're just cementing the
divide.
The divide, and it I don't. I don't know.
All right, so I didn't write this down on the board, but if you just do me a favor, you got YouTube.
Yeah.
Just add it on there if you wouldn't mind, and look at some of his videos later. I think he goes by the Officer Tatum, Tatum.
I
don't know if you know who that is or not.
I briefly looked it up just to see.
Okay, all right. I just wanted you to check out at some point in time. Just check out some of his videos, and then just next time I see you or whenever you get a chance to look at it, let me know that you look and see what you thought about that. Because I was looking at him and I liked some of his because it's the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, you're gonna mess up, and that's what I was gonna say. You're gonna mess up my algorithm if I start looking.
Don't be like that. Come on.
You might create a dummy account.
Yeah.
Oh, you just do that. Just call it. Oh, you want to use her?
I'm gonna use your.
Yeah. He's fixing
use your YouTube account to look at all this.
Yeah, just say Brandon. I think his real name is Brandon Tatum, but I just
okay.
But I just wound up liking some of his videos. Just see what you think. That's all. That's all I'm looking for. All right. Let's see.
Next topic.
Yeah, next topic. You saw the Mike Johnson comment?
What did he specifically say?
It was he kept asking. All right, so he said he kept. This is what they're all saying. So you know what, Biden never come out. So that shit didn't happen. But Mike Johnson said that he kept trying because he's, Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
So Biden, Kamala, Mike Johnson.
Yeah.
He's right there to be president if, the top two were taken out.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I kept asking for this meeting with Biden to ask him about some shit. And he's like, I got pushed off, and I forget how long he said. Yeah. And then he's like, I finally get this fucking thing. And he's like, hey, Mr. President, why did you sign this executive order halting these LNG exports? He's like, what the fuck you talking about? I didn't sign none of that shit. And he was even on Joe Rogan and everything. He's like, I never fucking said any of this fucking shit. I never signed a fucking executive order. He's like, yeah, you did. And he's like, can we ask, hey, secretary, will you go print this out so we can have this conversation? And he's like, what the fuck was that? He's like, I don't remember signing that shit. And it's just like, wow. And I was like, because they were talking about the mental decline of Biden. And I know I'm kind of picking.
Yeah.
And I'm doing, it's my podcast, so I can pick a couple
you
things
can do
that I
whatever
want.
you want.
I just find
Yeah.
I just find it was like, it's wild that like you don't know what you signed. And I get, and don't get me wrong, I get where it comes from because we know how, people get busy.
Yeah.
And maybe they did. I'm trusting you when you bring it to my desk.
Trusting his people to say, this is something you want to sign and have wanted to sign here, sign it. And
we got a thing, and, the military's got that thing, trust but verify.
Yeah, trust but verify.
So, I mean, it kind of is on you. So, I mean, like, there is that if I trusted you when you brought it in and then I signed it and then something was on there that wasn't what I was expecting. It's still on you, though, as the man.
Yeah,
you're the guy
buck ends there.
Yeah, buck ends there, yeah. So,
yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, and you can apply this to any president. Like, yeah, whatever decision that you're making. Granted, I haven't served as the president of the United States yet.
Aspirations.
Aspirations.
Maybe we shouldn't have done this podcast.
No, it's all good. I would expect like someone just. I'll use the example of me as a watchstander. Yeah, like, do you remember every single case that you worked in? Every single missile case? Should you remember like every? You should have it is expected of us to have like an idea of like, oh yeah.
You would have at least been like, if somebody were to come to you and said, hey, did you stand watch on such and such a case? You would probably be like, yes.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And for Biden, for this specific thing, again, we don't know. It could.
No, I'll actually concede that point because, okay, now I kind of understand a little better because now I'm remembering since we're talking about you should remember that.
Yeah.
I had when I was underway, fucking piece of shit ops boss. He was in fucking charge.
Yeah.
There was a case that went down, and I think it was we were towing a boat, and we thought something was going down, and while we were towing the boat sank.
Oh.
They wound up suing it, the Coast Guard for it. They fucking called the ops boss, who's the guy in charge. He says, I don't know. You need to call the OS1, who is the OSIC.
Yeah.
And he fucking sent lawyers to me.
Yeah, he did.
And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Because that was my first question. And they were like, hey, I'm so-and-so from the DOJ. And I was like, do I need a lawyer? I was like, she's like, I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, yeah, you can look me up if you need to. It'll show this, that, and the other, and told me all the information. And I looked it up. Ma'am, do I need a lawyer? And she's like, no. She's like, no, I'm on your side. She's like, this is the information that I need. I said, why are you calling me?
Yeah.
She's like, well, I talked to your old ops boss, and he said to call you. You were the guy. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, holy fucking what the hell? I was like, let me think about this for a minute. Okay, I'm reluctant to talk to you because I don't like you people.
Yeah.
Lawyers.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to say you people when it comes to fucking lawyers all goddamn day long. And I was just like, all right. She's like, well, what about this, that, and the other? I was like, I was there. It's a chaotic thing when you're in CIC with a go fast.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's doing kind of the same thing, but different.
Yeah. So
I don't know. And she asked some like location, kind of what happened. And I was like, and I can tell you what went down. I was like, I don't know where the fuck we was at because I didn't have position unless it was on our notes as they were counting it out as something was happening. But to get fucking stuck in that situation, I'm just like, what the fuck did I do?
The guy holding the buck passed it to Brad, and it was just like, no, this was not my decision.
Yeah.
And
again, goes back to that whole Biden. How do you...
Well,
I get it. You sign.
I had to refresh myself. That's the reason I said I can see that because I'm just like,
but you
what the fuck did I do?
you also already were aware of the situation before you were like, wait, I do remember this, but let me refresh my memory to where I have all the facts. Him just saying flat out no.
Yeah. And
talk to him.
Yeah.
Pass the buck.
Like it's sort of like, come on, man.
Yeah. If that is like if it is a legitimate story, like I certainly think like, yeah, you should have some general idea. I don't know the specifics of it. I don't know if that whole meeting was about that and he brought it up in the meeting and he just doesn't know.
Yeah.
Or it could have been just we're having a meeting about something else.
There might have been extenuating circumstances, but the bottom line, if that really truly was the case and he said no, that's
crazy.
That's a big red flag,
Yeah, that's
right?
crazy.
Brad,
we
you
can at
shouldn't
least
feel
agree that.
persecuted. The federal government gets sued all the time. I've had to give 2 depositions, and I had to fly to the Bahamas because they wanted us to testify.
no.
How long did you stay there?
Like 1 day.
Oh.
Because they cut a plea
that's not
deal.
So quick and easy.
Turns out that there is no right to an attorney in the Bahamas. So if you can't afford one,
One will not be provided to you.
One will not be
justice is
provided.
pretty swift.
You are shit out of
Well,
luck.
yeah, it's not a persecuted thing. It's just I don't want to be in that situation kind of.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Even if I'm on the good side, like no, I don't want to be there. I don't want to testify.
You do know the Coast Guard was the first government entity to be successfully sued, right?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, enlighten us.
Years
Come on,
ago,
producer.
years ago, a Coast Guard buoy tender, I don't remember which one it was, underway, went past, I don't know if it was a buoy or a fixed aid, but they passed an aid to navigation that was not watching properly. And for those of you that aren't in ATON, what it means is that the aid is where it's supposed to be and it's displaying its assigned characteristic. So it was not watching properly. They didn't stop and fix it. They did not notify anyone that it was not watching properly. As a result of that, a ship went aground.
Mm-hmm.
And they went to the court and they said, look, the Coast Guard has a responsibility to let people know when an aid is not watching properly. Why do you think now we have local broadcast notice to mariners and weekly notice to mariners, right? That was a direct result of that. And that was the first time the federal government was successfully sued.
Oh wow.
Huh.
So
about
we're the
that?
ones that broke the dam.
How about that?
Jesus.
Leading the way.
Yeah.
Tip of the spear.
Tip of the spear.
And the 2 depositions I had to give were both for aids to navigation.
Oh, that's not what I would have thought.
Wow.
Why?
Well, you already said that you did so much time with migrant and.
I did even more on buoy boats.
So that's the reason I would have went there just out of.
I did 9.5 years on buoy boats. So
No.
Yeah.
How much migrant and drug interdiction years have you done?
let me think. So I had 2 years on the ship. I had 5 years at the D7 Command Center as active duty, and then another 3.5 years, about 10.
So more in drug and migrant interdiction than buoy. So it would have been statistically to choose that.
Well, yes and no, because I can't recall anyone ever having to give a deposition or testify in a court case from being at the command center. It was always if you were on the unit that got the interdiction of some kind. And that's what I was, because I was on a 110 and we stopped the boat in Bahamian waters. So that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Stay tuned.
Yeah, no, right.
That's another podcast. This one's getting already really long.
Oh, really?
It's not too bad. 217.
2:07.
Oh,
Wow.
We started off with an hour and a half, I think it was. And then it was like an hour 45.
Everyone gets a little bit longer.
As long as we're in the 3 hour range, I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm trying to keep things moving a little bit, because we could have sat and talked about immigration for
Yeah, I could
8 to
talk
12
to the cows
8
come home
yeah,
about
8 to
any
12
of
hours.
these topics.
Yeah. So I mean, like, that's why we were skimming the topic, you know, because I don't know if you've seen my podcast, whenever I label them, every time I change a topic or whatever it was, I put a number on it. And then if I do one that's referencing another one, or we're revisiting a topic,
Okay.
I'll do 3.1 or 4.1.
Oh, okay.
So that
It's
way,
like a software release.
Oh,
yeah. There you go. Software release. Okay, this one's probably should be quick, but thoughts on Biden's pardons, and you can talk about them if you want to themselves, and then Trump trying to come back and say they're not legit in the first place.
Okay.
And
Okay, wait. Let me interrupt. Let me just throw this in real quick.
Yeah.
Did y'all see the news that one of the guys that Biden commuted his sentence is now back in jail for the exact same things he got his sentence commuted from?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Great decision.
Guess they got that one wrong.
Yeah, it was, what is it? It took a week. I think it was a
It
week.
wasn't. Yeah, I don't know how
I think
long it
a
was,
week.
but it was not long.
He clearly doesn't follow the policy of make good decisions.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm not talking about the communion's not the right word.
Commutations.
commutation.
Communion.
That's what I'm
Going to
They
church.
commuted them. Yeah, it's the like the family members and Fauci and all them people. It's like, what do you think about? Because those are the ones that are Trump are trying to come back to say that aren't legit, and that goes back with that fucking Roe v. Wade thing. Or like you said, you're opening up a can of worms.
I don't think legally Trump has a leg to stand on and say he can't, he can chase after them. The pardon was issued, right?
And
I know there's some question about the auto pen and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Legally, I don't think he has a leg to stand on.
No leg.
Yeah. So this where I thought it was going to, like, surrounding like the question of the auto pen. Like, there's absolutely nothing that has to do. The Constitution says the president has the ability to grant pardons. That is it. It does. The president could tell somebody, hey,
But has it
put a pardon?
I don't think it's ever been done forward.
It has.
Has it?
Yeah. You mean
Forward
like
in the future? Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
No, it
That's what
hasn't.
I'm
Yeah,
saying,
pardon
like-
issued for somebody who's not been charged with a crime yet.
Yeah. Like that's what
well,
I'm saying. That's what
it
I'm saying. There's
has.
ooh.
Nixon. He wasn't charged for anything.
You're right. He was not charged for anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's that involuntary retirement thing.
Yeah,
That's all. That's
Yeah,
that could be a different story.
He resigned, and then Ford granted him a pardon for anything he may have done.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't charged.
I'm not a
But,
crook.
Yeah, I'm not a crook.
Everybody knows that piece. Not
Yeah. Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
So
Great president.
So for great president, great American. No. So trying to negate them.
So the forward thing. So do you think the forward thing's wrong? Because I mean, like,
I don't agree. So
oh, let me ask this real quick. Because let me ask. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I just want to hear somebody else say it. If he pardoned his son of any crime going forward, or was it anything that happened in these years?
it was anything that happened. Like they.
Yeah, they have to. It has
wasn't-
to be specific for a time frame.
Okay, so it's not a pardon him until 2020,
No.
2030 thing.
No, it's not like
It's just anything that could have happened in these years, which happened to
Yeah.
be all the time he was dealing with
Yeah.
whatever the company was over in Ukraine and shit like that.
So it's nothing like. Because if
Yeah,
pardons
okay,
weren't
yeah.
blanketed, like if it was just blanketed, it'd be like
Yeah, it's
I
like-
can commit whatever felony I want.
That's right. Federal crime, yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't agree with that. I think that's
But that
fucking-
doesn't negate him from the DOJ prosecuting him.
it
does.
pardons
He's
him for,
pardoned for all federal
federal
crimes.
crimes. He can still
Not
get
state.
civil
Yeah.
and state.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if he wronged a person, that person can come after him, and the state can come after him, but the federal government cannot go after him.
Any federal government entity.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I think
Unless he commits a crime out of the time frame for which
Yeah.
he was pardoned.
Or,
Sure.
or
Yeah, he
like
can fuck
say
up
he
now.
commits like a murder, then
Now.
that's not a
That's
like,
not-
yeah that's not
he's not gonna get
covered.
away
that's
with
not
that.
protected.
I've-
for-
Well,
I
yeah,
found it-
especially since there's only one murder that's federal.
I
Yeah.
found it.
which is
yeah.
A federal like a elected official.
I
Those
found
are the
it.
only ones that are federal.
I did find it funny that he did pardon people who hadn't even done any crimes.
Yeah,
Did-
because
did Fauci take it?
I know he was listed on it. I'm not
Did he take it?
I'm not sure if anybody take. I didn't really research into like who actually accepted.
I think
the
everybody.
pardon.
I think
Um,
my producer's gonna look up Fauci.
okay.
I think Fauci was the only one who didn't. I think he didn't take it because he was like, I ain't do nothing wrong. I don't need no fucking part. Somebody
And,
said
and that's
that.
up to the people. Like they don't have to necessarily accept a pardon. Not that I know the whole history of people not
Not that
accepting
I've
the
ever
pardon.
had
Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
pardoned
yeah,
for
yeah.
anything.
Not, but yeah, the whole blanket, like the day of the inauguration,
Yeah.
like the automatic like issuing of all those pardons. I don't personally, I don't agree with. If it was a thing, because though I don't agree with it for the way it was done. Like, oh, I'm heading out the door, and by the way.
Just slip this
like
right in
as
real quick.
I'm getting into the car to go to the inauguration of my successor. Here we go.
Hey, auto pen this real quick. I'm out.
I actually thought that's what was going to happen for his son. And I was saying, okay, if you're going to pardon him, that's going to be the last official act that he's going to do.
Do you think that he did it blanket for people who never even committed a crime to maybe like not to kind of tone down the fact that he pardoned his
Yes.
son?
Not even for that. I think just given the rhetoric that Trump was putting out, like for like, oh, I'm going after the Biden crime family, all that stuff. Just, I think it was a Hail Mary attempt of just like, all right, I'm not going to not do anything for my family. Because I feel that anybody would have.
I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Would anybody be interested in knowing the numbers
for
that presidents have issued for pardons?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What you got?
Okay.
The amounts.
How many? Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we'll go back. George W. Bush. That was Bush 43
One.
or whatever.
Whatever.
No,
Junior?
41 with George H.W. He was not a junior.
Oh,
A lot of people think that, but his dad was
No.
George
H
H.W.
and W.
Bush.
He was
Yeah,
George
Herbert
W.
He
Walker.
was just George W.
Walker
Bush.
Okay.
So he issued 200, right?
Uh-huh.
Before that, let me see. Who else was it?
The Sun issued 200?
Yes.
Yeah.
43.
W.
He issued 200. They didn't what I
Mission
wanted to do.
accomplished. War on terror.
Yeah, no, that one that didn't age well, did it? How many would you think Barack? If he issued 200, how many would you think Barack Obama?
I know
issued?
he issued more.
1,927.
Yeah.
God damn.
Good God.
Yeah.
Trump first term. What would you think? Oh, I guess and now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Has he issued any since he took office?
I'm not sure if he.
I'm not sure if he has any since
Not
he's
not that's been like talked about.
right.
So he's at 1,700.
Okay.
And what would you think about Grandpa Joe? How many?
Oh, it was certainly a lot because he pardoned everybody who was convicted of like a marijuana thing. So
Oh, I'd be okay with it. Nonviolent marijuana crimes?
yeah,
8,064.
yeah, yeah. Because
Over
those
four
big,
times as many as anybody else.
One of them was
Well-
his dealer.
Oh, you mean
Now,
you
here's the
mean
funny part
Hunter's
about that.
dealer.
He was
Freaky
also
Joe.
one of the key officials in enacting legislation that put them in jail in the first
yeah,
place.
the '97 crime bill.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's even a better statistic.
Yeah.
They should
So-
just go ahead and legalize marijuana and get it over with.
Like I was telling you in the very beginning, a prohibition on anything
Yeah.
doesn't really.
Yeah.
It
it's
doesn't
not-
help.
It's not.
I don't know why people try and smuggle weed into the United States now. Anyway, the best stuff on the planet is grown here.
Yeah. Made in America.
Made in America.
Made in America. Land is free. Home of the brave.
All right, next topic.
Oh,
Move
look,
right
at
on.
that. Look at somebody wanting to move on. All right, so
We're almost done with the list, and we haven't even gotten to happy hour yet.
Ooh,
we're on happy hour.
happy hour.
We're already on happy hour.
Y'all
Long
are all
distance
drinking,
toast.
so I think the happy hour, the hour is happy.
Yeah, but then we get to talk about other stuff that's not
Oh, okay.
agenda
Okay.
related.
Okay, so I was wrong on that when I had that in the outline that I sent you.
For
So for the Obama thing.
oh yeah,
So he just I had to look it up. So he wound up criticizing black men.
yeah.
He was like, "I'm talking to you, brothers."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, that whole period because I remember that. So that for you,
By the
for
way,
you-
Fauci accepted his pardon.
he did accept
Yeah.
it.
Oh.
Okay,
I was wrong. My bad.
And here's the weird thing about it. The pardon goes back to 2014.
Why did it need to go back that far?
That's a very good question, isn't it?
His whole
That's a very
his,
good question.
His name never even was in conversation
COVID.
until COVID.
Yes.
It was probably when he give money to the Wu-Tang.
Chinese communist.
Wu-Tang
Yeah,
Clan.
the Chinese communist lab that was doing gain of function.
That was actually doing the
Wuhan.
research for the
Could have been
for the outbreak.
Wuhan, not Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang's a great.
I think the dates are
Dates
the
are
most interesting thing
Yeah, yeah.
about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Get back.
so
Erase-
yeah, so the
erase-
Obama criticizing the
black man.
yeah,
For listeners, I am black.
you're black.
what?
What? Someone tell somebody.
Who let him in the house?
What
the hell?
What are you doing here? So my thoughts on that. Because I remember the context in which like he was making that comment on. I remember it was kind of like down to the wire in the election cycle when it was happening, and there was like a lot of stories of like, okay, like they're black men, they're other like groups of men of other ethnicities who were talking about like, or they were highlighting that were thinking about voting for Trump or voting for a third party or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think it was a conversation that should have been
it's not a right or wrong thing. It's just
it's one of those things within the community. It's like, all right, there are conversations that we have in the public forum, and then there's conversations that we have privately back at home, where it's like, hey, y'all, listen. Or it's like it's not a.
So you felt like it was the wrong platform.
It was
to
the
take
wrong
that conversation.
platform, because then people who don't necessarily have like the context of which like the advice that was given, or like sort of like understanding, like, okay, that's a type of like, hey, y'all,
That's a personal conversation.
that's a personal
sitting down with sitting down with the friends and family,
the friends,
extended community
like
kind of
you
thing.
have,
It would have been okay.
Yeah, you have like a cousin or whoever who's like saying a lot. It's like, hey, come on, and then it's then weaponized by people who either know or don't know,
or who want to use that.
Yeah, who want to use that as a justification. It's like, oh yeah, he's saying like all black men like have an obligation to vote for the first black woman. Yeah. No, that's not.
So did you feel when that happened? Were you just sort of like, oh, seriously, or were you like, I get it, but
no, I was mostly upset that I knew how it would be taken by people. It was like one of those things where it's like, it is a necessary thing to say. Like, he's saying like right things. However, I know how it will be taken, interpreted, and
why
then
is it
weapon.
Why is it a necessary thing to say?
It could have.
Let me just say, she was a terrible candidate. The left shot themselves in the foot by taking her, as they should have had a primary. If Joe Biden didn't want to run again, and I realized he was forced out, they should have had a primary and let the people choose the candidate instead of the powers that be in the Democrat Party choosing their candidate.
Yeah, but I'll also contend that primaries are relatively new, too. Okay. I'll break it down in a few things.
I think that the left would have stood a much better chance of winning that election if they had a primary and picked a better candidate than Kamala Harris.
I think there's several things. So I think that in terms of having a primary, sure, but I would even argue that primaries are kind of theater anyway. Like they like for the majority of presidential elections, there have never been primaries. It's always been decided at the convention.
Time and at the time that Biden was basically forced out, was there time really to have a primary?
Wasn't enough time
for a Democratic Party. So there was this. I mean, it was a very unusual situation, obviously.
I agree, but they went into the primary and everybody knew who was going to be the candidate coming out of the convention.
Yeah, and I
mean the convention. They went to the convention.
Yeah,
everybody knew who was going to be the candidate coming out of the convention.
Yeah, and they most certainly like could have turned into a whole like what people were speculating before he dropped out was like, oh, we're going to turn this into an open convention or whatever. Like, like how it used to be where it's like, oh yeah, people are just yelling out random names and then.
And there's going to be 100 Democratic representatives on the ballot that you could vote for. Yeah, and then it was going to be like, there would be no one that would win because everybody would be completely.
Yeah. But
there's a process for eliminating those people though. Yeah. But if you don't get a certain percentage of the vote, they drop you out.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps getting narrowed down.
Yeah, and it would be that whole big thing of like, okay, everybody's tuning into the primary.
It would have been more entertaining. Theater.
It would have been.
Oh, it would have been good theater.
Yeah, it would have been hell of entertaining, but it would have just caused a lot of confusion. I think out of everybody, from the Democratic side, Kamala Harris, I thought would be anyway the natural choice. You have the vice president. I don't think that Biden did her any favors as vice president.
Yeah.
I think because originally when I was first voting for the first time in the, what was it, 2021? What's that? No, it was 20. It was the 2020 election, and then he got nominated. He got
elected.
Yeah. So at least for the people of my demographic, of my age group, like the sort of understanding was like, okay, yeah, Joe is going to go in there. He's going to do one term, and he sold himself at that time as like the transition candidate. Like, all right, you're going to do one and you're going to be done.
So it almost felt like a natural progression.
Yeah, natural progression. That was the deal, that he was going in there for one term, even though he never explicitly stated that.
Yeah.
That was sort of the understanding that, okay, I'm going in for one term and I'm handing over the keys to the next person.
Yeah.
And I understand. I can't say I understand. I can empathize that
Trump incited him so much that he felt, I cannot fucking go out on a loss.
Yeah.
I cannot do it. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Is that a simplistic way to put it?
For Joe,
yeah,
for the
Joe,
reason why Joe wanted to
for one
do it again.
term.
I thought, yeah,
Because
I
I
think
thought he
that
was going to be a
factored
one.
into it.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be a one-term president too.
It
And
certainly
then Trump
factored
incited
into it.
him, and he was
Yeah.
just like, "Fuck that guy, man! I ain't going out like that, punk." Who you
But
think you are?"
when
Like,
the first,
oh.
and I don't mean to
No.
derail
Go
you.
ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
so sorry.
Yeah.
That first debate, I mean, that was,
That was the beginning of the end.
Yeah,
I mean, you saw him standing
we
there.
defeated Medicare.
I think that was the end of the end.
I mean, it looked
Yeah.
like he was falling asleep during the debate, and
Yeah.
it was like, what is happening?
Yeah, I will
Because they
say,
couldn't put him on a Ritalin drip.
yeah, I will say, like, because I'm able to look at like sort of things like that objectively, like with the debates. Like, I was actually surprised, and I was surprised that, given like the amount that Joe was failing during that debate, like Trump didn't just
Railroad
pounce
him.
on
Yeah.
him and all that stuff. I
Are you saying
suddenly appreciated that. It was like, okay, like,
he took it? He took it easy
He's
on him.
sticking
Yeah,
to
he
he's sticking
saw
to
what
the
was
debate
going
rules,
on,
and he
and-
stuck to the debate rules, right? He didn't really he didn't take
Not even-
advantage of the situation.
that just mostly as a human, not even talking about like the debate rules, just as a human. It was like looking over and seeing like, oh, someone is failing right
Severely-
now. And it's like, I'm not
seriously
going
struggling.
to like.
Well, it's not like
Yeah.
Trump is young.
No, it's
Right.
not, and he's
Here-
not.
here-
He's the same, practically the same age.
Here's the
Yeah.
this is going to make it in a simple terms for who's the last guy Mike Tyson taught that fought
Mike
that
Tyson.
Mike Tyson. I have no.
What's his name?
What's his name?
Oh, we just we watched it and we were like, oh.
Stupid.
Yeah.
One of the brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
Was it one of the Diaz brothers?
No.
No.
Oh God, no.
No.
Oh God, no. If one of the no.
The Russian guy?
Anyway,
Who was it?
It was the
Producer.
YouTubers.
Who was it?
The YouTubers.
producer, who's the last person Mike Tyson fought? There we go. All right. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's kind of that. That's where I'm going. That's because
Yeah.
this is for the young people or anybody who's watched that because
Mm-hmm.
that kid's fucking popular, even though like we can't remember his fucking name.
I
He
can't.
kind of took it easy on Mike there at the end.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what
And
you're
they both
saying.
win. They both get
Yeah.
their hundreds of millions
Oh yeah,
of dollars.
sure, yeah, but it's
it
no,
was- yeah.
that aside.
Yeah.
But that's what you're saying. It's like Mike could have. I feel like Mike could have done better
Yeah.
if he'd have just been like, "I'm gonna haymaker until the cows come home," or this motherfucker knocks me.
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul.
Jake
There
Paul.
we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Paul
that's
brothers. Yeah.
yeah, the Paul brothers. Yeah, that's kind of the way it was. Like, yeah, I agree. That's an easy way to put it.
Yeah.
I do simplistic things because you can always complicate things
Mhm.
with more thought, more talking, and
Yeah.
words. And I do a simple thing.
Yeah.
That's all I want to fucking do. That's exactly what fucking happened. With
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and so for the debate, like, yeah, that clearly showed like where Biden was at, and I was saying before, like, he should
Step down.
step down, or yeah, like bow out of the race and do what I thought he was originally
Yeah.
going to do. Whether she was the right candidate, I think so. Could
Josh
have it-
Shapiro.
Josh,
They should have picked Josh Shapiro.
they as
Did you have an
yeah.
opinion about who would have been possibly a better candidate?
Josh Shapiro could have beat Trump.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Okay.
I do agree with that. I do agree that I think that she could have beat him.
She's not
She-
a good politician. She doesn't speak clearly. One thing I'll give to Barack Obama, he is a gifted
Yeah,
orator.
he's probably one of the best orators of
Oh,
both sides
100%.
of
I mean,
modern politics.
even me as somebody who was not a person of the Democratic Party, when he spoke, I was like, okay, he's got charisma. He's very well spoken.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about,
Yeah.
and you know he knows what he's talking
Yeah.
about. And it was just like, okay, this guy is like, okay, like
He speaks, I listen.
legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, since this is my podcast, I'm gonna do this. 'Cause I can do this. Okay, so I had hopes when
Mhm.
Obama took office.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to see a half black man become president.
Yeah.
He's half, right?
Yeah, technically. Yeah.
No, I just want to make sure we all agree on that.
yeah.
He was raised by his white grandparents.
He
Yes,
was.
he's
He
half
was.
black.
Yeah.
I had,
But to any person off the street who is like, he's clearly no, he's a black. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I went for technical. All right, I had hopes that it wasn't going to happen in my generation, but I thought it might have been able to bridge the racism gap
Yeah.
for either my kids or my grandkids. I
Yeah.
was hoping that was what was going to happen. And it all
Pretty
fell-
sure you're not having grandkids.
and it all fell apart.
My
Yeah,
Lord,
I hope not. Cool. Next topic. What's everybody's thoughts on the JFK files finally being released?
I love it. I think it's great. It should have been released fucking whenever it happened.
Nothing's
Come
gonna.
on.
There's nothing that's gonna be like truly insightful that's coming out of this.
That
The Warren
nobody didn't know
Commission-
already.
The Warren Commission got rid of anything that mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's a nothing burger, as I saw originally, and as I thought. It wasn't going to be like, oh, there's aliens living among. No.
We were all waiting for the
It
finger
wasn't going to be
pointing.
casually dropped
was-
like, hey, by the way.
It was
Right.
The
Steve.
CIA made sure that the Warren Commission got rid of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, what?
It's hilarious
I
though.
mean,
Everybody's looking for it. It's like Steve did it, and like that was going to be. It's like, God damn it, Steve! Why did you do that? And like nobody even cares. It's been so goddamn long.
It
Nobody
was
gives a fuck.
84 years ago.
It's JFK. Sorry, it's not. It was J. Edgar Hoover's America. There is no proof. There would be no proof.
Oh, yeah, no.
Of that thing happening.
Yeah, no.
It.
Oh, and for the listeners, just so y'all know, Chancie is a political science major.
Yeah.
That's the reason he seems to know his shit. So
I love it.
And I just like
And you-
reading and drinking.
And you don't have and you don't have a job that's in the degree that you went to
Yes,
college
and
for.
I'm not.
I can help you with the reading thing or the drinking thing, but unless you got pictures to go along with that reading, I'm
Brad
not
only
your
likes,
guy.
He likes the pop-up book.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're coloring books,
Pop-ups.
coloring books. I'm okay with that too.
He doesn't stay in the lines.
Hell no. I
Are you
got some-
giving crayons?
when we went to Disney last year, and we all sat down to eat. My buddy had his two kids with him, and I was looking. I was like, "Hey, what the fuck? Where's mine?" And they was like, "Do you, sir? Do you really?" I was like, "I'm at Disney World, bitch. Yeah, I want some
I want
motherfucking
some
crayons."
I want to draw on the table.
She gave me the crayons, and I'm up there doing the little crossword puzzle and shit, and like doing. Oh, I can get out of this trap.
I can
Oh,
get
fuck
out of
you
this
guys.
maze. I can
Yeah.
do this.
Fuck yeah, I can do that. Well, I guess we
Give
can
me
all.
your red. I'll trade you
Yeah.
my red for
Oh,
your blue.
And we did too. Yeah, we were trading colors. That's great that we all agree the JFK file release was fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
So
it's
that
nothing.
was.
I
I guess
mean,
that was quick and easy.
no.
Nobody cares. Just like I said 20 years ago
Yeah.
that if Area 51 really had aliens and you would just fucking tell us, we'll get over it.
They do. According to
we're-
Men in Black, they just have to go.
Well, we just
It's
they
won't-
gotta
Area
go.
52, actually.
They have to go underground.
It's just that if just like this, the
There's
JFK
also Independence Day.
the JFK
Mhm.
files
that's,
came out.
That's it.
JFK
Independence Day.
files came out.
Yeah,
Nobody
you're right.
fucking cares. Tell us that aliens exist and just be like, oh man, this is the little motherfucker we found, and we're all gonna be like, oh fucking shit.
And we'll get over it.
And then in about 10 years, we're gonna be like, okay, like so.
Yeah. All right.
Statistically speaking, it's impossible for us to be the only
Yeah,
sentient
Yes.
race in
Yeah.
the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never say that aliens don't exist, but I'm not going to tell you that they do
Have they
exist.
visited? I
And-
don't
yeah,
know.
Until Marvin comes down, I don't fucking know. For y'all who out there who don't know, Marvin the Martian was on the Bugs Bunny cartoons.
How
They
old
took
are
me
you?
up. There was an anal probe involved.
What?
Probe.
Anal. I mean,
They took me up.
she asked for it, so I mean, I don't
Hey.
discriminate.
There
Okay.
you go.
What's
Whatever you're into.
Star Lord? Hey, Star Lord.
He's got the helmet over
I
there.
know, right? Star Lord fucked all kind of bitches. It's great.
Yeah, but James T. Kirk was way before him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh, that's the original.
original.
Yeah.
And the very first interracial kiss on television.
That's right. Him and Captain Aurora.
Yep, Lieutenant Uhura.
Lieutenant Aurora. Sorry.
Sound familiar, Lieutenant?
Yeah, Lieutenant. Oh, God.
Oh, we've done good so far. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with. Never had to bring that up. All right, so what do you think? Maybe you just thought about this before. Just going off the cusp, and I have mine written down, so I'm cheating. I want that to be known.
Wow.
I am cheating because
It's your podcast. I get it. God.
And actually, I got it from Brandon Tatum, the guy that I was telling you about to look up.
Yeah.
I heard it from him, and I heard it, and I was like, son of a bitch. It hit me so hard, I had to write it down.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think is the best advice, broad sweeping, general shit that you think that you've heard that you can remember on the spot?
I don't know. I've had a lot of good advice. I think of some of my things from my father. In you say as a man, like when you make a mistake. This advice, like just for
broad. It doesn't matter.
When you make a mistake, admit up to the mistake. Apologize for it, and then you admit this, you admit the mistake and apologize for it. You ask the person whoever who you wronged how you can make up for the mistake,
okay,
and then you make an assurance that
Doesn't
you
happen.
don't do it again.
All right.
That is, I think that can be applied to any sort of thing, just in like taking responsibility for your actions,
relationships,
making
work,
relationships, work,
sports, anything,
making up for that mistake, doing tangible things that, all right, showing that you actually apologize for that, you're actually sorry about it, doing things to make up for that, and then making sure that it won't happen again. I think that's the best advice.
Baby Kangaroo, what you got? You got some?
You and I discussed this one the other day.
Oh, shit.
And it's a quote that's attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson. Let your actions speak so loudly, no one can hear your words.
Oh, I like
To
that.
basically summarize that, it means what you do is way more important than what you say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so if the two contradict one another, people are going to look at what you do, and that's what they're going to take as how you act.
Yeah. I like that.
All right, well, now I'm going to get angry. Let your actions speak so loudly that no one can hear your voice. Brandon Tatum said that, and that's where, and
he stole it from somebody else.
Apparently he did, but I've never heard that before, and I don't remember you saying it, so my apologies for not remembering that, but I thought that was super dope when I heard it. Maybe it just hit me at the right moment in the right frame of mind for me to remember it and want to write it down, but that's...
Yeah, we talked about it. Well, it was only like a week ago.
I don't remember a week ago. I'm trying to...
That's fair. You've killed a lot of brain cells.
I'm trying to kill him right now. Fuck.
It makes me think of another quote, that quote that you all brought up.
Did Steve Rogers say it?
No, Steve Rogers did not say it. Captain did not say no. It's the heart of a fool is in his mouth, but the mouth of a wise man is in his heart. Ben
Ooh.
Franklin.
Oh,
Oh, did you quote
I
Ben?
like that.
Ben Franklin.
Did you just quote Ben?
I did.
I like
Uncle
that.
Ben?
$100 bill.
Son of a bitch.
$100 bill, y'all.
Why didn't you tell me that? Why did you not see that on the note? You could have given
I
me
saw
that.
that. I was
Son
like,
of a bitch. Fuck.
It's more comedic. I
All right,
guess.
fair enough. Baby, what you got?
Just finish it, Chancie.
I don't know if
Yeah,
it
go ahead.
was. I don't know if it was any kind of advice that I've heard or have been given. More of my own life experience that I try to live by. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So mine is you can't always be sympathetic to someone else, but you can always be empathetic.
That's a good one.
No, yeah.
You can always see, or at least feel where someone else is coming from.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't have to agree with what they did.
Agreed. But always be, you don't always have to have walked a mile in their shoes, but understand that maybe their situation is just as important.
Some people don't deserve empathy.
True, but if you give them a chance, you can make that decision on your own, whether they deserve it or
The
not.
guy that took his dog 30 miles offshore in a 17-foot John boat, sank it on the way back and let his dog drown. Yeah, that guy doesn't deserve empathy.
Okay, I
Nope.
agree.
Nope, does not. Anybody got last words?
That's it. This was an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
This was fantastic. I love this.
And again, thank you for having me.
And I think
love
more
this.
people need to have these kind of conversations. Talk to people.
Yeah, it's simple.
It's so simple. It's so simple.
Go out to dinner. Have a drink. Just it's not.
Talk to people.
We're on this earth too little.
And we're on this earth together. We
Yeah.
have to live together, whether you agree with anything or not. We're still here. So talk. Just talk.
Talk.
There's nothing wrong with that.
All right, good shit.
Actually, I'm going to tell you something. Somebody told me, this is another quote that I think is significant. God gave you 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. 4 of them are for input. One of them is for output. Use them in the ratio to which God gave you them.
I love it.
Ooh, yeah,
That's a
it.
good one.
That's
I
a good
like
one.
that.
That's good shit. Okay. All right. On that note, we're going to do what we always do. We've concluded our episode here. We're going to have happy hour. What I want to say is thanks to all the listeners for making it this far. I know it was a sensitive topic on a lot of things. We kind of touched on a lot of things and went around in circles, but I want this to be an opportunity for people to understand you can meet in the middle. I understand that the world is large and it's hard to come to a consensus on a lot of things, but you don't have to have a conversation with somebody and attack them if they don't have your beliefs. Have you heard in this podcast, in this episode, we met in the middle on some things. We agreed that we could flop on a couple of things just to see how things works out. So maybe that provokes somebody to think different, or at least say, I want to work with you, not against you, and you have to conform to what I feel and or believe. So get out there. Don't be afraid to talk about politics. You got to be in the right frame of mind. Yes, we've been drinking. We've been sipping. We haven't really been drinking. We've been sipping. And the conversation has been great the entire time. It's absolutely fucking awesome. Just going to touch on this because I love having a young black man who knows his shit, who can have the conversation. I think you're one of a million to at least be able to come out here and do this with me. I thank you from the bottom of my heart of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit our outro. We're going to have happy hour. We're going to get real happy hour now. Now we're going to get into some different shit. We're going to start drinking a little bit more than sipping. So here's the outro. Hopefully y'all stay for the next little part, and we'll see you on the next episode. All right, everybody, we're back for the happy hour. So I kind of feel bad because she's been sitting over there,
Aww.
not being able to participate. So thank you for being here and letting your husband be tortured by all of us right-wingers and us fucking lunatics talking shit. So what I want you to do now, Chancie, is slide that mic or y'all scoot a little bit closer together because we're tapping now. We can actually talk about anything we fucking want to, and I want her to be involved because I felt bad for almost 3 fucking hours. The poor girl has been sitting over there alienated, not saying shit, and it's fucked up. So I apologize for that. Thank you for coming out here. It's nice to meet you. It's great to have you here. Like to get to know you better. You got to come out here. It's a long drive, I know. When I make that shit all the goddamn time. I make that shit all.
At 5 in the morning, just
waking up at 4 to make it there by 4:30. Fuck yeah, it's painful. All right, so yeah, for all the listeners, that's been the dogs in the background.
Just one. The other one's passed out.
Oh yeah,
on the couch.
she's asleep. The young one's going fucking ham for the last 45 fucking minutes. Calm down, dog.
His bone was hidden under the thing by the door, and so I rescued it, and he's like happier than a dog in shit. He gets shit.
So he better not be in shit. All right, so what's your
Tammy,
opinion?
I'm guessing you don't leave your clothes on the floor anymore?
Oh, I just closed
just
the
closed the
bedroom door.
Oh, okay.
So what's your opinion on how the episode went, and what you think? Do you have and if you have any critiques, I am actually open to that. So what do you think about it?
Well, I don't have any critics.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. I accomplished by not fucking up entirely.
Well, I think it went perfectly fine. Like from everything I've heard, I appreciated the fact that, well, you had some point that you wanted to discuss, but also you allowed yourself and everybody else to kind of associate on other thoughts and be free to talk about different topics. That was pretty fluid, but also like you kind of stick with the original plans too.
Yeah.
So everything that has been said was always related to the topic, and it was really interesting. So
Okay.
I
Good deal.
personally liked it. I did not really interact because first, I don't know that much about politics in this country. I don't
Sure.
feel legitimate to discuss some points because I don't want to say anything wrong.
Oh,
However, if we talked about French politics, she has a lot to tell.
you could never say wrong in my house.
In this group,
In
you
my
are free
house,
to
you
say
can-
whatever you want.
You can say I'm white trash, call me a hillbilly. I don't give a
This
shit.
is a judgment-free zone,
Don't even care.
100%.
It's just like I feel I don't have all the knowledge, and I don't know everything about what's going on here.
Yeah.
for now.
That doesn't stop a lot of people in this country from having an opinion. Just so you know, there's lots and lots of people who are not informed at all that have opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was still very interesting. I've learned a lot, and
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it because, like I said, he's the only being him is the only reason I wanted to have him here because we've had some of these conversations at work, and I've seen, and that's why I said people need to talk about politics because I've talked about politics before at work, and somebody instantly goes, "You're just fucking stupid," and I'm like, "Well, great. Well, that's gonna solve
shuts
everything."
down
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, I'm receptive. You're right, and
I think we
wrong.
know who that was.
I don't know, and I
Baby
and I
kangaroo.
hated that, and I really haven't had a whole lot of.
I am not that rude. My parents raised me better than that.
Yeah, I haven't had a whole lot of conversation with a young black man before, and I know that's, and I really think that, and I said it earlier when you got here. It's like I think that's wrong to bring up race and everything, but it's just if it's not a racist thing. It's just my life experiences.
Yeah.
Just like if you want to talk about some French politics, I think I've only met one other real French person ever.
oh,
Like, so I mean, and it's not that I just haven't had an opportunity, haven't been around there to come across an actual French person. So, I mean, like, I'd love to hear about some French politics. I mean, if you can't talk on that, then then let me ask you this: since he said you're versed on French politics, is no, it's just is French politics. Since you just got here, it's going to be a great time to ask this: is it as divided, or do you see it as divided as we are now?
yeah.
It is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Is it
Definitely.
has it always been like that, or is that something kind of like it's just become new here? So is that something that's new there now, or has it always been like that?
I mean, I feel like it all. In France, we have different parties. Did I say that? All right. We have a lot of different parties. So we have a lot of different opinions. We always have two major parties, that people vote for.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of different parties, and they all matter. So we always been kind of divided in a way. It's never really homogeneous. Did I say that?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But especially for the past few years, yes, we fell into the extremes, like the extreme left and the extreme right, So
So
it's pretty
like
tough.
Democrats and Republicans, same kind of concept. And we got
So
what did we had the Tea Party for a while.
Yeah,
That's kind of
so-
fell off.
yeah, the Tea Party.
Turn the mic
which-
towards you a little bit. There you go.
Yeah. So the Tea Party, which I think members of the Tea Party have morphed into like more of the
I don't even know what they
the MAGA whatever has evolved into that. Like,
But still,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
but like she was saying though, I don't want to get off on.
No,
I mean, sorry, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm trying to include
Yeah,
her.
yes,
So,
yes,
fuck
yes.
you. You talked long enough.
yeah, I
want her
talked
to-
way long enough.
I want her to be involved.
Yes.
So so you're saying the left and the right is kind of like the Democrat and Republicans, but then there's also the other little ones. And does the little ones actually come into play in French politics, or is it like they're just there and kind of nobody really wins big seats? Or
Yeah, I mean, they don't have that much of seats. But I think they still matter a lot because it allowed to add some nuances to everything. And how can I say that? I think we still appreciate the fact that they have their seats because
Okay.
they can bring up some voices that are usually not really heard. For example, we have, I don't know if it's the same here, but an ecology party, for example, So they don't have that much of seats.
Yeah.
Nobody vote for them really.
Yeah.
But we're still happy that they are here because they can bring some ideas for laws about ecologies and stuff. So
Are there any? What's the Chauncey? Maybe you know. Is there? What's the socialistic or no? I'm talking about up in like Northwest Democratic Socialist or Socialist Party.
Socialist Party.
Democratic Socialist.
Is that what it was?
That's what the AOC says she is, and that's what Bernie Sanders says he is. And,
Oh.
well, actually, Bernie Sanders might say he's a true socialist.
Yeah.
Is there any? Do you have any socialists that you know of, like parties that are in French politics?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And I only asked. The reason I asked that is because hearing some of it's only been in the last, I don't know what, 10, 15 years where people have started saying, yeah, I am a socialist. And they're running on that platform and they get voted in. And it's just like, has anybody looked up what socialism is? And do you really think that's a good thing? So is that, there are some of that in France?
Well, just so you know, I'm not
I'm
I'm not a professional about politics.
No,
but
no.
From
just asking an opinion, just not holding you to anything.
we definitely have
conversation.
socialist, and it's the extreme left.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we do have a party, and they're pretty popular, I would say, for people who are on the left. You know.
Oh wow. Okay. Is immigration a big topic over there?
Oh yeah.
It's there too.
It is. Yeah, it is.
It's a huge issue over there.
It is. It is.
Because we're talking about like the refugees, like the Syrian refugee, like that influx of like we talk about it over here, but
using Mexico and the cartels
like,
versus there actually is war.
Yeah, there actually is like directly like from the Middle East, from Northern Africa, like they're actually directly going,
leaving war where
they're crossing the Mediterranean to get there.
Planes are bombing the fucking country and shit. And it's just like that's kind of Mexico's not there yet. RPGs maybe and some machine guns, but they're not flying over dropping big ass bombs.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. That's nice to hear that France has got some same problems we got. Misery loves company. So hey, I'm glad we're all fucked. I mean, Jesus Christ.
But I think like. I'm not going to say all countries, but most of countries have the same issues. It's just, it's articulated in different ways, you know. We have, immigration is a question in France too, but of course with different type of people coming from different countries. So we don't have any Mexican coming, for example. I know here Mexican, like they are always seen as, when you talk about immigration, people think of, oh, Mexican. But it's because of the history of the country and also because of the borders.
Yeah.
So back in France, I would say there's a lot of racism, and it's linked to our history. For example, with I don't know if you know about the war with Algeria and the fact that Algeria was a colony, a French colony. So it created a lot of issues. So we have a huge Algerian community in France, but they are not really accepted. And yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's always related to the history, I think.
Yeah, that's a really good point. A really good point.
We've all got every country's got a complicated history.
Yeah.
Very complicated history. So I want to make you comfortable. You want to talk about Jesus Christ? And
we actually came here to discuss our Lord and Savior.
That's right.
This is actually a cult. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe that's what I should have named the podcast. We're going to occult your ass.
We're not a cult.
Let's just put that out there. We are not a cult. That was totally.
But if you're interested, no.
Maybe
elsewhere.
we can be. Maybe we can be. We can start hey, producer, make that happen. We're going to become a cult.
Really easy.
I don't know what you're talking about. We already are a cult.
Son of a bitch.
It's called the Coast Guard cult.
Something like that. They tell us what we can and can't do. They tell us when they're going to feed us. They can tell us when we can sleep. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, but that sounds a lot like a cult to me. Yeah. They tell us when we can go home, when we
They
can't go home.
don't tell you to drink the Kool-Aid.
Oh, that's not true. You never been on a ship, have you?
Oh, that's
Drink this diesel fuel that we call water.
Yeah, you didn't like the ship, did you? You only been away? Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't either.
She did. She especially didn't like me.
Underway's the only way.
Going away for long periods of time.
We're a seagoing service, guys. It's what we do.
That's what we do. It's what we do.
I tried to never get underway. I'd have been okay with that.
Yeah.
Then why didn't you join the chair force?
You know what? Maybe I should have. Maybe.
In hindsight, no.
No, in hindsight. Actually, I don't know.
No, in hindsight, the Coast Guard took really good care of us. Aside from 3 years
But would the chair force have been better?
You would have got lost in the mix.
That would have
And
been
there,
dope.
look, you probably wouldn't have even retired as an E6. You probably would have retired as an E5.
Well, I'm glad I did
Promotion's much slower in the Air Force.
Well, I'm glad I did Coast Guard regardless because now I have this job
Yeah.
and I probably wouldn't have been as fucked up. So
And you didn't get swept up in the Doge.
the goddamn Doge.
Apparently, not one person from the Coast Guard entity that's a civilian got the termination papers.
That chick that works beside Scott, they had to email somebody justifying her job. So that came up. So she was close to being doged, I guess. Maybe in the rim.
Did you see the email that Scott sent out about all the highlights from the meeting they had or something, some GS-15 up at headquarters?
He probably sent out in the last week.
No, Brad's
Oh,
been
that's
on-
right. You hadn't been at work.
There
He's
we
been
go.
on leave.
There we
It's
go.
I
not
was
like you
supposed
can
to
log in
go-
at home and check your email.
I don't do it when I'm on leave. Fuck that.
I was supposed to travel, and Brad took the week off.
So I got
and
a friend of mine who was having his birthday party up at the state park we like to go to.
Okay.
And he's like, "Hey man, y'all come up here and camp with us for a few days." I was like, "Yeah, word." Tammy's like, "I hate that motherfucker so much. I'm gonna break my leg.
never-
Fuck him." She's like, "Watch this." She walked outside and broke her fucking leg just to get out of that. And when I was said, "You don't have to go to fucking Chicago," he's like, "Nope," and that's a bonus, bitch. Like,
so not what happened.
this bitch breaking bones.
Sledgehammer to
yeah.
the leg.
There's
Yeah.
That's
so
like that.
not what happened.
Yeah, that's like
Misery rate.
I'm at 90% VA disability, bro. Break my leg. I need it. That'll get me there. Like, what's happening? Like,
Actually,
What?
it probably wouldn't.
That's so not what happened.
No, you know.
I swear to God, I think this dog plots my fucking death every day.
military. Ma'am,
Yeah. My bad.
okay, are you going to do a career?
For now, at least.
What do
Looking
you-
at the government right now, it's like, it's better to stay where I'm guaranteed a job.
What are your thoughts on having to change cities more than likely every 3 to 4 years? Ooh, that was a contentious point. Look, she's like, I got a lot of opinion. She cracked. Look, y'all, just so the listeners know, she cracked her knuckles. She stretched her back a little bit, sat up straight. She had that look in her eye. Like, man, I've only met one other French woman, and that looked hateful. She had a.
I have things to say.
Say 'em. This is a free space.
Apparently, she's not looking forward to it. I know you married into it. You love the man, and it's an uneasy accepted thing. So that aside,
Yeah. I would say there are two major things about that. Well, a part of me is happy because I'm like, I'm going to discover the U.S. and everything. So that's cool. But
I like a positive. I do like a positive. That's
Yeah.
great. Got something good out
I'm
of
just
it.
trying to. The two major things are the fact that I'm a career woman too. My career is really important, and it kind of makes me mad that we have to follow his career first, because I'm a clinical psychologist, and it's really not comfortable that that you can follow, you can help people only for like 3 years, and every 3 years we'll have to change city. So I'm just gonna leave my patients there.
Yeah.
So
You-
it's hard to I don't know, just when you start a therapy with somebody and you know that, but you just have
It's going to
3
be
years
more
with
than
them.
3 years that you want to help them, and you know that
Yeah,
there's like a
it takes
time limit.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to chime in on this, though,
Hang
and
on,
say
hang on. I got to cut you off.
you
Okay,
shouldn't
what-
worry
hang on a
that
second.
much about it, because the Coast Guard specifically has taken a lot of steps to keeping geographic stability. So if Chancie wants another job in New Orleans, he could probably find another job in New Orleans.
And I'm sorry. What did you say your job was again?
A clinical psychologist.
Yeah, it's the last fucking thing I'm saying. Y'all handle this shit. I'm out.
No, that is so awesome. I absolutely fucking love that. I love
She's
that.
going to diagnose you in a minute, Brad.
She probably already has.
My
Yeah, she
diagnosis
probably
to
already
the
has.
end.
She probably already has.
You have a personality disorder for sure.
Man, you need to take this bitch home.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Okay, so do me.
Oh, that was was a loaded term.
I'm not playing that game.
That's
Oh,
smart,
wait a minute.
Margo. That's real smart.
I ain't saying no shit. Job wise, do me.
No, I won't.
She's not gonna do it. She's smart that way.
She doesn't get paid to do that. So
How much you charge an hour?
It depends the French amount or the American amount.
She's going to charge you in euros.
which actually, wait, is that more than the dollar now?
Right now, yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
American money then. Nope, I want it in pesos. Fuck that shit. You just said those two. You didn't say I couldn't add something else in. I want to fucking know in pesos. And you
Well,
can't.
if that's
you
the case,
can't.
you want it in yen, then.
I'll meet her in the middle. We're gonna go with pesos. It's all good. It was pesos. How many pesos does it cost? I actually got some pesos in there. Do you want some?
Could take it. No? $1 billion?
$1 billion pesos.
$10 it is. Well worth it. I do therapy. I like therapy. We see what episode
You
was
need
it?
a lot more of it.
What
We
episode
did.
was it?
We actually did an episode on therapy, and we are huge proponents about therapy.
Really?
Huge.
Yeah, I used to be against it because, I'm white and in America, and they don't like that shit for men to go to therapy. But I give it a whirl, and I actually like it. And it's been
Now you're approaching being a girly man.
that's the last thing.
so not true.
I ain't no bitch.
Bitch.
No, you're a girly man.
You said this was good.
No, it's terrible. I want you to drink
He
it.
brought you the worst bottle.
Look, I'll tell you, I got some good rum in there, and it's from Alabama. I'm gonna tell you it's good, but it fucking sucks.
But it
Okay,
tastes
there
like
we
shit.
go.
Yeah.
I tell you it's good.
So you have a PhD or master's?
So back in France, you only need a master's degree to be a clinical psychologist because we don't have a major. Like when you study, you don't have like, I'm a major psychology. It's like we study psychology for like 5 years. But personally, first, I've always wanted to do a PhD, and I want to be a psychologist here too. So I'm currently doing my PhD.
Oh shit!
Oh, good
to be
for
one
you.
here, too. Yeah.
Good for
If
you.
you're that smart, why are you with him? I can do you better. I know lots of people that just take you in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
You can do better.
Oh,
She can do better
he's
too.
smart. He's really
He
smart.
is smart. I'm not saying. I'm not saying he's not smart. I'm not saying he's not smart. I'm just saying you can do better. You know.
I could.
Next to a rock, he's intelligent.
Oh dang! God.
So you don't have a practice here currently?
Oh, no, not
Well,
yet.
she's only been here
You're
2
working
months.
on your PhD.
Yeah, because, I don't know if it's the same here, but so back in France, you can do a PhD while you're working on something
Okay.
else, like you have your main job and then you work on your PhD, but also you can be paid for your PhD.
Oh,
And for
okay.
that, you have to apply. It's a whole process. And I've got accepted, so I'm getting paid do
to
my
work
res-
on your PhD.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh, good
fantastic.
shit.
I love
That's cool.
that. I absolutely that is amazing. I love
It
that.
is. That's
And
a
you
good
can
deal.
give her your GI money too, right? Oh hell yeah!
I love that.
But-
that is fantastic.
But because she is still a student in France, it's all free in France. So
We'll talk about that some other time.
yeah, that's we talk about the education here in America.
Well,
Yeah.
we may have to hurry up and talk about it, considering they're trying to do away with the Department of Education.
Currently, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. As much as I think it should.
Ooh.
Well, okay. Let me just throw this out there.
Reduced
Okay?
in size.
The year that the Department of Education was created, the United States was #1 in the world in education. Okay. And do you know where we're at now?
34th.
Like 87,
40th.
40.
40th.
Wow, you severely underestimated our education system.
I did. I'm sorry.
He's like 87.
87.
Yeah, we're #1 in the world.
152 recognized.
Yeah, we're #1 in the world per capita per student in the rest of the whole fucking world.
That number though is a little bit skewed because when it comes to things like after school activities and whatnot, other countries don't throw that math in.
Well, yeah, because they probably don't have after school activities.
I was told there would be no math.
So,
Yeah, no
like,
math.
when you have a football program and a track program and all that, those costs get thrown in to factoring the cost in the United States, but they're not thrown in other countries.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's not true because Japan has huge after-school stuff.
Well, I think Japan's on a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level kind of thing.
I don't disagree.
Oh, you in trouble already?
It's just because we had to pick up something.
Oh.
7.
Oh, shit. Are you good? I mean, it's too late now, but might as well enjoy the rest of the evening. You pick it up tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll figure it. We'll figure it out. Figure it out.
Well, thanks for interrupting y'all's time or taking your time to spend it with us and interrupting real life shit because adulting sucks.
All good.
So you're looking. So you're getting your PhD. It's going to be accepted here, but it's in France. Is that?
Well,
That-
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know everything about that right now, but I'm not worried at all. I'm sure I'm gonna make it work. Maybe I'm gonna have to. I don't know how to say that. Not to transfer my PhD here, but in a way.
Yeah, I got you.
But I'm pretty confident because again, I know that I can easily confess.
You Catholic.
I can easily convince them that I have the level because, as I said, some people, for example, when I say like, when we say that in France we only need a master's degree to be a psychologist, they can think like, oh, that's all. But again, it's because we don't have a major. I don't like study psychology and also like randomly study history no, it's like I'm a specialist. So I think that the amount of, for example, here clinical psychologists would have to study for have a PhD.
Yeah, like 12 years.
Yeah, but all the knowledge they have in psychology, I have them too because I condensed everything, within those years.
You did it.
So.
You did it harder, shorter than they did drug out longer. So
Yeah.
you're getting in 6 or 7 years what they took 12 to get kind of thing.
Yeah, because again, we study psychology and that's all, nothing else, nothing that is not related to psychology. So it's not a waste of time. I think it's actually super interesting here, but it's like we just focus on what we want to specialize in. So in the end, I think we have the same knowledge.
Yeah, like we were talking about the education thing here earlier, where it's like you've got to take those weird electives that have nothing to do with your topic. Like you're just
Basket weaving.
Well, you got to take a sports class to make what did you say, a well-rounded student.
Well-rounded student.
And it's just like I don't want a well-rounded student. I want
want
somebody
somebody
who
who
majored in
knows.
psychology, and that's what you're saying is I'm focused on psychology, and that's it. I didn't have to branch out with sports and go do golf or something.
Here you don't get into that specific classes until you get into your master's or you get into your major, your master's, and your PhD. So like you said, it's extended.
Where you bottleneck it, and then that's on it. They just do the whole thing.
And I think that's amazing. I love that because then
Tammy,
you're
when
already
you getting your
into it.
master's?
Huh?
When are you getting your master's?
I was close to getting my master's because I actually did. So I got my bachelor's in radiologic sciences, and then I continued into psychology and started doing all psychology and got to the master's and was just like, I can just get a job and start making money.
Yeah, right.
So,
I get it.
but psychology has always been like a passion of mine. I've always loved it. I've always thought it was amazing. So the fact that you're doing it is phenomenal. I absolutely fucking love it. And I would love to pick your brain about it one day.
Oh, yeah. And I find it fantastic because psychology, before studying it, it's always been my biggest passion in life, my biggest hobby. And just being able to make it my job.
Yeah.
It's so cool because I don't feel like I'm I feel it sometimes that, all right, it's my job, but I just take so much pleasure out of it.
Yes. You have passion for it.
Yeah.
So do you want to just do like counseling, or do you want to do something specific like forensic psychology or, something specific with psychology?
I'm not super aware yet of all how you call the different specialties here. Because to me, like, how can I say that? So since I'm a clinical psychologist, it's therapy, it's counseling. But I personally specialize into forensic psychology. I've always worked in jail, for example.
Wow. Okay.
I don't want to do, for example, assessments. I know how to do that. I know how to do the Rorschach test if you want to.
Do me.
I can.
She has done it on me.
And I was right on everything I
Did he pass? Did he pass?
He passed enough. It was good enough for government work.
Which is saying a lot.
So I can do assessment and I can diagnose people, but this is personally not what I prefer. I prefer to bond with people and do therapy. It's more interesting and yeah.
So you said to me, you said a key word was the bond thing.
Yeah.
Because I've went through a couple of therapists already. Oh, the dogs are going nuts. Okay. I went through a couple of therapists, and I even said on the episode where we did therapy and everything, and I was like, you're evaluating your therapist as much as your therapist is evaluating you. Because if I can't come up with a repertoire, we can't come up with something that works between us, it's not going to work. Cut it, move on. And so the bond thing, using the word bond is what I was going off of. It's like, you got to have a bond with your therapist or you're never going to open up. They can only ask you so many questions or try to get you to open up. And if you don't open up and try to let some of that shit go, you're never going to get there. You're never going to be able to overcome some of your inner demons kind of thing. So, I mean, yeah, you got to have a bond. So
Yeah, because I
feel like you're already winning into the game. If you're like, I got to have a bond with you before we work some shit out or it's not going to work. Because people are just like, no, make me better. And they look at you like, well, okay, you want to talk about your problems? No, I don't want to talk about my problems. Fucking tell me what's wrong. Like, that's not how that works. People like fucking ease up a little bit.
Because I personally think so. I'm into psychoanalysis, and so we believe that everything, like how you actually work with somebody, it's through the bond. And I personally think, for that it's on me, but I personally think that when you do therapy, when you go on therapy, it's you meet somebody. So yeah, I meet my patients, but they meet me too. And of course, it's nothing about me. Like, I'm not here to talk about me, but the way I talk to them, the way I care for them, the way I analyze some stuff, it means something about me too. And you have to be comfortable with the fact that you're going to be, I'm not going to say vulnerable, I'm not vulnerable with them, but you have to be comfortable with the fact that they're meeting you too, and they're going to analyze you too in a way. Even though, again, I don't talk about me, I'm not going to stop, talking about my life, but just being myself, I guess, is enough for them to meet me. And that's just a relationship.
Yeah. Do you ever open up about yourself or like reveal like any little small
detail?
Any little small details about yourself when you're talking to them? Because like that was
counseling crazy people. Why would you do that?
Did you hit your bucking button? You're not supposed to be talking from over there. Because like I think that was one of the things with my current therapist where. I'm doing all this opening, I tried to open up. I'm trying to open up. But she finally opened up something about herself that kind of
resonated.
Yeah, it resonated and it kind of clicked with me. And I was like, oh, maybe we have a lot in common and I just don't know. And it's not like I'm not really asking, hey, what was your childhood like? Hey, what was I don't give a fuck about none of that. It was just something that made me be able to relate to her. And it's like, we don't have everything in common, but we have a few things, and that made me loosen up a little bit and start getting a little more open and honest. So you do give maybe little details about small, not intimate things, but
it depends. Like, as I said, I think that the way I analyze things and I talk to them, it's in a way I show who I am through that. And I don't know how to explain it, but it's like with some stuff, I'm gonna suggest that I get it, like I get you, because not that I've been through the same thing, but do I explicitly talk about myself sometimes? And I would say my favorite example is so back when I was working in jail, my grandmother was Polish, and I'm really attached to my Polish origins. And one of my patients was Polish, and he did not speak French at all, only Polish. So I knew he was Polish, and I asked to see him. He did not really ask for any therapy or anything, but I was like, he had nobody to talk to, so I was like, I just want to see him. And I started speaking Polish to him, and he was just like, oh my God. And so I told him, I explained why I was speaking Polish, who was Polish in my family, where I went, And so I saw him a couple of times until the end. And I was not like talking about me. Nothing was really about me. It was about him. But to create a bond, I was sharing some stuff about my life with him.
Yeah.
And for example, talking about the bond and everything, it was around Christmas, and I went to a Polish store, and I got him some Polish chocolates, and I gave it to him. I usually don't give gift to my patients. I wish I could, but it's super professional. So I don't do it, but I wish I could give them just gift all the time. But he was the only one where I allowed myself, because I was like, it makes sense in the therapy process to, you know, take care of him, and he missed being in Poland so bad. You know, he was in jail in a country that he doesn't know, surrounded by people speaking a language that he does not know. So I was just like, all right, I'm just going to try to make you feel better by bringing some of the country for you.
Oh,
you know?
I love that.
And it worked. It worked a lot. And for example, he started bringing me some photos of his family, and the pictures he took, it was in front of a mountain, for example, called Zakopane in Poland. And I went there. So for example, I told him, I was like, oh, it's Zakopane, you know? He was like, oh my God, yes. And for example, he knew when my birthday was, because I was born the day before him.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
And when I
wow.
asked him about his birthday, I was like, oh, I'm born the day before. So the next time I saw him, it was on his birthday, and I didn't even have time to tell him happy birthday. That he told me like, happy birthday to you. I know I'm late. It was yesterday. So, you know, it's this type of thing where it's like it created an actual bond, you know, to share about ourselves.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I think that's amazing.
So two things. How many languages do you speak? Because you obviously speak English, French,
And
Polish.
now Polish.
I'm fluent in English. Oh my God, sorry.
You need some water? She got some water? She good? What's happening?
I'm sick.
Why are you just sitting over there to get the girls? God damn. Jesus Christ. You want some sparkling water, girl?
No, I'm good. Just still. Well, so I'm fluent in English. Spanish. I speak Spanish very well. And Russian, I speak Russian not that well because I just started learning, and so I'm not super good in Russian. And Polish, I just know a couple of sentences. I'm not fluent at all, but enough to talk to somebody.
Oh, wow. And the other question was, so he died? You said it in the end, and then you said he was in jail, so he died.
No.
Is that-
No.
I'm sitting there just like, what? Because I worked in the jails. Yeah, in the end, we did this. Oh, okay. So they beheaded the motherfucker. That's fucking great. I'm glad that's what you fucking do. Outstanding.
That's what.
What the man? What the fuck you bring over, man? Take the water back. Just take the water back. Pour that shit out. She don't get nothing else. She killed the motherfucker. God damn.
No, my bad. It's because at that time, so I worked in jail as a clinical psychologist, but I also had internships in jail. And at that time, I was an intern, so I took care of him. He came on therapy with me until the end of my internship. That was also until when I ended my internship. That was the time he got freed. I don't know. Yeah, freed.
Oh, so he didn't die.
No, of course he did not.
I mean, you said he was in jail. I don't know. It's a crazy world.
Violent criminal. Like
No, it was for drugs or something like that. Something stupid. So.
Was it weed? What's France's number one drug problem?
Oh yeah, definitely weed. I would say.
Weed?
Not like methamphetamines or anything like that. Do you have that over there?
Build more Taco Bells. It
really?
won't be a problem.
No,
Nope. The gastro company.
Fourth meal, run for
Gastro
the border,
company
middle of the night.
fucking making money. Taco Bell. Oh god, that's the worst thing in the world.
You had something just the other night
Yeah, I
on
regretted
the way
it.
back from the house.
I regretted it.
Oh,
I
that
still
was like
regret
months
it.
ago.
I hate Taco Bell. Fuck
It
this.
wasn't that long ago.
No matter. It's Taco Bell.
It
It's
was.
terrible.
It was a long time. We haven't had Taco
It was
Bell.
January because we were
Okay,
watching the
so
national championship game.
Months ago.
Maybe it was months ago. Wow.
Really?
When you get old, time flies by.
Well, that was only 2 months ago, so that's the bare minimum for months.
You are correct.
Just letting
It's
you
to
know.
be plural.
Just letting you know.
Meaning more than one.
There we go.
I thought you said she doesn't play with him.
They have learned how to play tug of war, and that's apparently what they're doing now. That's the only time she ever plays with him.
And as they say down here, Michade passing a good time.
So, Chancie, what'd you think? You come back? You come back, you do another one?
Absolutely not. Yes.
can't stand the
I
dogs.
love the conversation that we have here, not just about
You wanna pause until the dog stops?
politics.
I'm just pausing. My God.
And I love the dogs.
I love the dogs too. Wouldn't expect all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Racist ass dogs won't let the black man finish. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
Jesus Christ. I see what type of household.
I know,
we're
right?
in.
Fuck.
Oh, jeez.
Jeez, way to go, South. You
I hate
ruined
to
it.
break
Yeah.
it to you, but Remy's darker than he is.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, you don't have to look at the dog. Yeah, that is absolutely true. Charcoal brown, charcoal black. It's like, jeez. Oh.
Why are you beating
She
her?
was tired of the little man tormenting her.
I know, right? You haven't been long enough to be that frustrated.
Yeah, not that far. But yeah, I would absolutely love
Okay.
coming back.
Go-
I love the conversation. I love the vibes, everything that we have going on.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I made my disclaimer known to begin with. That's
Yeah.
what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
So I like that dynamic.
Drunken podcast
Drunken.
point 2.
Point 2.
Oh, Power Hour.
You want to do
Power
it? You want to do a
point
drunken
two.
episode?
Yeah.
Do you know what it entails?
I told him.
I can assume that it's like we're gonna drink before and
No.
then
No.
gonna go into
No.
There's a very specific
One.
process that is followed.
Okay, I'm cutting you off because you was trying to ruin it to begin with. So Power Hour is one shot of beer every minute for an hour. Damn.
It's only 7.5 beers.
I didn't even get a chance to get it finished. Oh, what the? That's all that. Okay, that's all. The reason I cut him off is because he's just like, "Dude, what's up, man? What do you need the shot glass for?" And I was like, "Because it's a shot of beer every minute for an hour." What the fuck? I'm just gonna drink some fucking beer. And I was like, "Dude, that's not the fucking point."
Yeah.
I was like, "If that's gonna be the fucking case, just chug 8 beers and shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
And then just see what happens.
Which I was prepared to do.
It was. But I haven't had a whole lot of people fucking make it, and I'm only bringing it up because who brought it up? Did you bring it up? One of y'all started it. It wasn't me.
When we
Who just brought up the Power Hour thing?
just now.
I did.
He did.
Okay. If you want to do a Power Hour with us,
I would love to do that.
okay.
Listen, like she's over here groaning. The other night she did 15 shots of vodka.
Damn,
Just
girl.
Back to back to back.
I
Just-
love you. You're my soulmate.
Yeah, just boom, boom,
It's
boom.
not, look, the
with
power
her,
hour is not
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah.
It's really not.
with her cousin and brother and friends. It's just like boom, boom, boom. Just yuck. So she is. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'll suggest something.
Oh, please do.
So, yeah, we only drink straight vodka, of course, shots. And we have this tradition that has traveled all around the world. So me and my 2 best friends, we created this tradition where it's like, oh my God, let's do it now. All right? I can show you.
No,
Wow, you haven't even opened that bottle yet.
no,
That was brand new.
remember I bought you that shit? You
Yeah.
liked it?
Yeah,
I,
it's
I found
good.
I found this is the only other bottle I found, and I bought it 2 days ago. And I
At the
like
Chevron?
no, not at the Chevron.
No, it was
exactly
at-
at the other place.
Yeah. At the cool.
No, I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, because I was like, no, you said vodka, and he said 15 shots. I was like, all right, she gonna fucking try this. Fuck that.
For listeners, he just brought out a cartoonishly huge bottle
It's
of
the-
vodka.
It's a normal size vodka bottle, but it's just shaped
just
very
tall.
skinny and tall.
I got some weird bottles over there that look fucking wild, but I won't hurt.
He's got to. Okay, so continue with your story.
Just for the main reason why I did not talk today, more than just because I don't know that much about the U.S. politics, it's because I'm trying to recover from a hangover. From a hangover or something.
So when you were so polite and you were like, I'm just not feeling that well. It was. So this is hair of the dog. So this is what we call. I don't know if France has the same thing where like the next day you have like another like alcoholic beverage to just sort of, and it for whatever reason like cures you.
I've never tried. I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm not a big hair of the dog guy either.
Oh no, it works. It works. As much as you think that you're just like, oh God, I'm so sick, I can't do it. And then as soon as you take it, it's like, actually, I feel better. That's so weird.
Here,
Remember, Tammy,
won't-
the first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem.
I know she's French, but I want to find out how Irish she is.
Oh my God.
Is that an Irish shot glass?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say don't.
No, I'm not gonna give her.
It's
that.
like
I
6
love
inches
that-
tall.
I love that you, going back to the Polish with your Polish prisoner and speaking Polish. I'm half Polish. My family,
Really?
yeah, and my family came from Poland, and I'm half Irish. It's 50-50. Like
Oh,
my
that's
grandmother
so
was
cool.
born and raised in Belfast, and my grandfather's family came from Poland. So that resonated with me, and I absolutely love that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but you didn't finish the story about the thing you have with your friend and why you did it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was trying to show you. I was waiting until everybody has a shot to show you. It's,
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Well, I've been drinking vodka.
no, we're not doing drinking. We're doing shots. If your husband can beat on me about it, I can beat on you about it.
Are you going to take a shot of vodka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's waiting to get me a shot glass right now. I'm buying you new shot glasses.
Why?
well, for the little knowledge of the day,
Oh, that one is glass.
Yeah.
Okay.
vodka, I don't know if you'll know, but vodka comes from the word voda, which means water.
Okay.
So it's literally water.
So then you're like, I can drink this all day.
That's the
Where's
point.
your cup?
That's the
Tammy,
point.
where's your cup? Does it say it on there, though? No, is that the one that says it?
Says what?
The one that said vodka is just fun water.
Oh, no, it's in the dishwasher.
It's in the dishwasher.
I already used it.
All right, so the tradition is it only works with vodka shot. All right, no tequila or whatever. Vodka shot because it's funnier. So what we do is you take your shot and you say 1, 2, 3. What do you do it on the table like 1, 2, 3? But you say it's in Russian
Oh.
for the first one. So I apologize in advance for my American citizen and everything, but it's in Russian. So we do it in Russian at first. So 1, 2, 3 in Russian is один, два, три.
Один, два, три.
Yeah,
Okay.
один, два, три. And every time you take another shot, you do the 1, 2, 3 in another language
Oh.
all the time. So everybody brings a language that they know. Usually we try to learn something new. You know, we usually don't really do like Spanish or English because everybody knows. The
Sure.
point is to learn
A
something
new
new.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I
And-
love that.
And it's the occasion for everybody, like if they have origins, for example, to, show their language. And that's cool.
I don't think
love
that
that.
plan's going to work in the United States because we're a bunch of uneducated assholes when it comes to foreign languages.
But at least you'll know 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I was not going to say that. I was going to say I think that kind of defeats the purpose. Because, I mean, we're going to keep saying this shit in a different language. Before too long, we're going to fucking black the fuck out. Ain't nobody going to remember shit. Do you remember what the fuck we said? I don't have a fucking clue. Where am I? Can I get a Snickers? This is some bullshit.
I don't really feel like myself.
I can't count. I'll be like, we're going to drink enough vodka. I'll be like, count to 3. I'll be like, 7. Wait, that's not right. What was it? What am I counting to? 3, 4, 9. Oh, that's not right. How do I count to 1, 2,
You
3?
sound like me when I got my DWI.
No, I sound like me the other day when I said I'm trying to remember. What was the guy who sang for Huey Lewis in the news?
Who was the main
Yeah,
singer?
that guy.
You
Bro,
know,
I said that shit.
He did.
It's like, I mean, ain't that some. I had
All
something
right. So
different in my head.
what was the Russian?
Yeah,
What was
well,
the
how do you-
count?
Russian. How do you say it in Russian?
It's один, два, три.
Один, два, три.
Один, два, три.
Ajin vat.
Three.
And the little, so with
Tree?
Chancie,
Tree like tree.
three.
Three.
Like
Oh, fuck. I can't do the tongue.
Three.
Tree. Is that close enough? Tree.
Один, два, три.
Like
Ajin vat.
один,
Tree.
два, три.
rolling the R.
I'm trying to get it right, man. Shut the fuck up. I'm trying not to be a dumbass hillbilly. Calm the fuck down. Let me fucking learn.
We're gonna learn how. We're gonna learn how to count to 3 in Russian.
Ajin
Один,
vat.
два,
Tree.
три.
Один, два, три.
Ajin
vat.
Ajin vat. Tree.
So
Okay.
you do один, два, три, and then you just drink
Один.
it.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
You say.
Один,
Ajin vat.
два, три.
Tree.
Indeed.
Yeah. Silence is loud.
So was that vodka? Ooh. Was that not a? Was that,
to be honest.
yes. Please be honest.
So, because back in France, the legal age to drink is like 18, but everybody started around 14.
Sure.
So,
And she made it to be a
That
clinical
sounds like
psychologist.
Louisiana right there.
She's like, I've been drinking since I was 12.
First time
Fuck
I got
y'all.
drunk, I was 6.
God damn.
So I started doing shots since I'm 14, and now I'm at the point where it's like I stop being done. I stop being done.
Okay,
It's
so
just-
what do you think? Is it good, bad, and different? Average? What you think?
What's your go-to vodka? That's a better question.
Oh, that's a good question.
My favorite one,
They probably don't
it's
have here.
called Luxusova. It's a Polish one, and yeah,
It has a
It's-
buffalo on it.
Oh.
Not that we're ever gonna. Is that the one with the buffalo on
no,
Oh,
it's Zuborovka. It's this one, but it's one called Luxusova. But I don't think we find it here because we don't even find it in France. It's
Oh, really?
Polish. Yeah. So this one that we just tried.
Trash? I mean, just if it's
no,
trash, just say it's
natural.
trash.
It's natural. Like it has no taste. It's not disgusting, but it doesn't have flavor either. It's just natural.
So the one
it's
that you
cool.
like, does it have flavor?
Oh yeah.
And what is that flavor?
It's more. I would say that you take pleasure.
It's
out
like
of it.
water. Like it doesn't, or
No.
No, it's more like it's almost sweet. I would say.
oh,
You know,
okay.
like it does not really
Burn.
It burns, but it burns in a good way. You know,
Okay.
You're not like, oh, you're like,
Yeah.
that was cool.
okay.
Is it a potato vodka?
Not this one. I think it's wheat, but I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I forgot what.
There's
it's made of.
almost nobody that still makes vodka with potatoes.
No.
No. Everything, almost all distilled spirits are grain.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're talking about bourbon.
And we do vodka out of potatoes.
Yeah, there are still some, but the vast majority of distilled spirits now are made from grain. In fact, that's the thing that most people don't realize is that most distilled spirits start out exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's just
They
what
all
you
look
do
the
with them
same.
after
Afterwards.
processing. Yes.
Yeah.
Stick it in a barrel.
The
you
exception to that
bottle
is things like tequila and bourbon, which have very specific requirements on what they can be made from. That vodka is made by Stoli.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that might be why it's gonna.
You don't like it?
I didn't try.
You want to try?
I know. I had my own vodka.
You could just try it. It's
No,
really
I'm
like she
good.
said. It doesn't. You said this is
It's
just
natural.
it's neutral. There we go. Doesn't
Are
really.
you feeling better now?
I already have regrets.
was coming here one of them?
Since the moment when I stepped in this house.
See, I can appreciate that's cool. I'm all right with that. She still said she's gonna come back. Well, actually, Chancie will probably come back. He's gonna be like, "Sorry, man, she didn't like you. She's fucking out your
Fucking
mind."
hated it. Nah.
She evaluated you the moment she met you, and she's like, "This, you ain't going back to that motherfucker's house."
She said he's already got multiple personalities. I ain't going back.
Do I? I got more than one.
Hmm?
Do I have more than one personality?
I don't know.
We're gonna talk.
Hmm.
Maybe we should do an episode on that.
Just let's diagnose the different people in the room and
No, hell no. I'm talking about fucking. They just sit around and watch, and you just do therapy shit on me and let everybody
what?
listen to it.
we should do the Rorschach test.
Okay, I would be down for that. I would love that.
You would love for that for me to get it inflicted
Yeah.
upon, or you want to
Oh,
jump?
both. I'll do it too. It's cool. I'll do it too.
I don't even know what she said, but she said test,
Rorschach.
and I know I'm failing
You
on
know
the
the
first
ink
place.
blot.
Yeah,
right?
it's the ink blot thing.
The ink
Oh,
blot.
I'm failing that.
You'll think everything looks like a butterfly.
Hell no. I'm gonna pull that fucking shit off of the movie Armageddon. It's like a pair of tits. It's a pair of tits. This looks like you with tits.
Here's Harry telling me it's not good enough.
From Ben Affleck's point of view,
Yeah.
this is Harry telling me I'm not good enough for his daughter. This is me telling Harry I can't do anything, anything right.
Can't do anything right. Yeah. I can't. Do you have those cards, or is it just something you just look up online?
Well, usually you have, you're supposed to do it when you have them in person, but I do have them on my laptop though.
Oh shit, we ain't doing it right now, bitch. Mm-mm.
Don't tempt
that's
me.
so
Don't tempt
interesting.
me.
I'm so interested. I'm so tempted.
Would you, hey, this is good. Yeah, this is good.
I actually think that would be a blast. But did you bring cigars? I did. You did? Yeah, I think we're gonna cut this out. We're gonna go to the back porch and hang out because we're at 3 hours and 43 minutes. This is by far.
This is by far the longest one.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
I knew it was
You
going to
see
be.
what I can do? I
But
stretch
you know
your
who's gonna like
content.
that,
No,
right?
you weaved it. You were weaving.
You know who's
Yeah,
gonna
we-
like
I-
that, right?
This is whole
You-
part
you-
of the weave.
The weave, yeah, it was weaving. And see, we came back to what we originally talked about.
You know who's gonna like that fact, though, right?
What's that?
Is that person over in Texas?
What are the metrics on it? Like how many? Like you see like where people are like listening in from, right?
Oh yeah, I've got
Like
5 countries.
what countries?
See the
US.
U.S. with Germany,
Germany.
UK.
Guten Tag.
Are they good and tight? Or are they loose? I don't understand. The fuck did she say?
Hello, German.
Oh, that's
Good
not what I
afternoon.
heard.
Yeah, guten Tag.
Oh, I didn't
Tag.
fuck. That's not fucking what I heard. That's some bullshit. Oh, nope.
Who the fuck? What?
She's really evaluating now. She's like, did that motherfucker really just? No, yes. Okay. And like Canada.
And we had one in
The 51st
Sweden.
state?
Oh, I think we. Oh, was it Sweden?
Was it was Sweden?
Might have been Sweden. Yeah, it might have been Sweden.
There was
Yeah, I see all the metrics. I mean, we're working on broadening out, but I mean, like when you at minimum when you see a different country, you're just like, who the fuck? Fucking looked and was like, oh look, this American idiot fucking talking shit about any fucking thing. Oh.
Looking for do you see like how long they listen for, or is it like a
It doesn't.
It
yeah,
just-
doesn't.
it doesn't.
It just showed somebody downloaded it or fucking streamed it, and it was just like, oh, there we go.
Should I tell you that I'm attaching VPNs from all over the world?
I was gonna say it could just been some bumfuck from Kentucky who had a VPN.
I'm okay with that because I'm already gonna write a program that fucking keeps changing fucking VPNs. Just be like, oh, hey, look at that! I got one in China. Ain't nobody over there and fucking that. They don't even have internet.
And you know what? Now you're gonna have people listening to you from France because I'm gonna share the link and France
Oh,
gonna
I
appear.
love this.
Yeah, yeah.
I love this. You and I feel like are going to become best friends.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be-
Definitely.
Because I need to bone up on my French. Because I loved the language and I actually like spoke it well when I was obviously learning it.
Yeah,
And
and
now
it's
it-
gonna come back.
Yeah.
As soon as you start practicing, it's gonna come back.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Oh, that sucks. As much as I don't even want to
Because
admit
he's
it.
not going to know what I'm saying. Dude.
No. As much as I don't even want to admit it, the French language does sound pretty dope. They be
Yeah.
cussing me out. I won't even fucking know.
What would you say in French about the, say in French your summation of the podcast?
My what? Sorry.
Like your
my
thoughts.
Yeah, give a quick 2-3 sentence opinion in French for your French listeners. She's gonna be like, this fucking hillbilly. This is why I said I'm not gonna fucking know what the fuck she's saying. She's telling, don't listen to this fucking white trash ass fucking hillbilly in the fucking shit. And I'm not gonna be like, yeah, bitch, that shit was dope.
That was
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Don't spoil my age, please. Well, c'est de la merde. N'écoutez pas.
Okay.
N'écoutez surtout pas. C'est de la grosse merde.
Basically, she said this was some good shit.
right? Yeah, I heard the married part. Yeah.
I didn't say good shit. I said it's a shitty thing.
Oh.
Don't listen, just run.
What did you hear? The mayor, motherfucker.
Mayor.
The mayor, like
Mayor.
mayor.
Married.
Merde, yeah.
No, you just said
Mayor-
I'm the mayor. That's right.
No,
I
no.
am. I'm mayor.
Now you're
That's right.
hearing things.
Yeah, I'm mayor. Yeah. Make my home fucked up again. Everybody get drunk. Everybody's getting drunk. Fuck that shit.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna find you that shit. I'm gonna fix it in this when we go outside and smoke cigars, talk shit.
Okay.
But I saw somebody was talking about God, I can't remember what it was because I think it was Instagram. I'm scrolling through and they were making fun of the MAGA thing and they were just like, make America great again and then make America healthy again.
Yeah.
And it was something else and it wound up being like motherfucker. And I was just like, it was an acronym. I was like, oh, that's a dope ass acronym. I was like, why don't they implement that shit?
Yeah, well.
It's like, son of a bitch. All right, this has been a good 3 hours and 48 minutes. Babe, you got some
Okay.
last words?
Oh, this has been amazing. This has been,
Enjoyed it?
yeah, I enjoyed it.
You know, it's funny that we sat around and it was like, I invited people over to talk about politics and everybody's going to be like, man, that shit was fun.
This was great.
Like,
It
that's
was a
the-
great conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's the most fucked up thing. What you got? What you got, Chancie? Last words. You got anything?
This is what conversation is. We can hit serious stuff and then immediately pivot into whatever.
Nobody
I love
got
it.
mad. Actually, no.
I am not mad at all.
Well, actually, I am mad, but I stay mad.
He's always
I'm
mad.
the Hulk.
He's the
It's
Hulk.
it's just all the
I'm
way it
always
is.
angry.
Yeah, I'm always angry. It's fine. I'm always angry. Nobody got fucking mad. Everybody had a good conversation. We met in the middle. We swapped some shit. It's fucking awesome. So thanks, man. What you got? You got some last words you want to say before we cut this off and go have cigars and talk shit for real? Because this is just lighthearted shit. We're going to really talk shit here in a minute. So what you got for last words?
Oh my God.
Miss Psychologist.
Oh, I want to show some pressure on me now.
Well, step up to the game.
That was really interesting to see the group dynamic during this
Okay.
podcast. I kind of saw everybody's personality, when you all were talking. And everything I have to say is next time I'm going to analyze you all.
Oh, I love this.
And, I kind of saw some neurotic things there, on your side.
Why are you putting your hands at me? She ain't fucking talking about. She looked me in the eye and did a weird. She did a hypnotist thing. She's like, I'm a hypnotist. Watch this motherfucker start being like, I'm a cuckoo clock. Cuckoo. Fuck. What you got, baby kangaroo? Last words. You have fun? You pushed
Last words.
You pushed the talk word good?
Yeah. it did
Lift your
work
hand
good.
up when you say your last words. We'd all appreciate it. Just lift your hand up. Just
You really want to know my last words?
as soon as you pick your hand up.
Okay, this is from Margo. Laissez le bon temps rouler.
Oh. That's a thing here.
It is a thing here.
Oh, can I just make a little comment?
Absolutely.
Something that I'm so mad about is the fact that here, especially here, I love the fact that there is a big French influence, but goddamn, they don't know how to translate the things. I see mistakes everywhere, and I'm like, is it just so hard to ask a French person to just translate the thing? Because everybody think that it's so fancy to speak French and to put French sentences on the menu, or even worse, they name their store after a French word that is so it's wrong. You spelled it the wrong way. And I can't.
Welcome to Louisiana.
Just pretending to be French, And
Okay, here's what we're going to do. When you come back over and we have that episode and you're doing those ink block fucking tests, when you do that one to me, I'm going to hold up a French Cajun word to you
What do you see?
and ask you what the fuck you think this
right.
means.
all right,
I'm going to have to ask him what the fuck it means because I still don't know what the fuck it means. And I've been here 5 fucking years. So we can trade off.
I'm in.
All right,
Only
bet. All right, sounds good. All right, good shit, y'all. All right, so here's what it is. Thank y'all for being around for fucking happy hour and the longest to date episode at 3 minutes, 51 3 hours, 51 minutes. I'm looking at the seconds click. I'm trying to get it right. 3 hours, 51 minutes, and 23, 24, 25 seconds. I hope y'all enjoyed yourselves. Again, from going back to the original things, I hope y'all learned to have conversations and meet in the middle. Don't combat people when you have talks. I hope y'all enjoyed the happy hour. We're fucking foolish. We always do that shit. Y'all know how we roll. So with that said, we will see you on the next side, and I hope y'all have a good one.